they light the flame. Cigars in hand, never playing tame. Pour the whiskey, let it burn real slow. On the Real Smoke Podcast, the stories flow. Guess they're rolling with a spark in their eyes, talking life's truths and throwing lies. Laughter crackles like a fire alive. Cuba to Kentucky, they always thrive. Real smoke rises in the air tonight. Whiskey's bold, they keep it tight. Stories spark like a flaming glow. Mick and Charles stealing the show.
Welcome to the Real Smoke Podcast with your hosts, Mick and Charles, the podcast that's all about real people, real cigars, and real smoke. Coming to you live from the Real Smoke Virtual Cigar Lounge, bringing you the best of cigars, whiskey, and all the good times in between. It's more than just a podcast, it's a community of cigar lovers. So grab your favorite smoke, pour a drink, and join us as we dive into all things cigars, whiskey, and just having a damn good time. This is the Real Smoke Podcast.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 42 of the Real Smoke Podcast. We are your host. I am Charles. That is Mick. He is Mick. I am Charles. We are those people that want to talk to you for a little bit. So hopefully you guys are on here and ready to hang out and rock out with your socks out. And let's see. What's going on, Mick?
Not much, buddy. My whole goal for the week was to remember to unmute myself and have a better show than last week. We'll see. But I'm off to a good start. I unmuted myself.
Awesome. I was wondering if it was going to happen. Before we get things started, let's go ahead and talk to the title sponsor of our wonderful little podcast. Let's talk to the Cigar Vault in Oakdale.
Hey guys, it's Norm with the Cigar Vault Oakdale. As you know, we are a small boutique shop located outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You could find us online at www.thecigarvault.com. First, I got a microphone, so Mick and Charlie don't have to yell at me anymore about sounding low when I send them videos. Second, let's talk about this August 5-pack that they put together. This has a banger of a lineup. It's cigars that they've talked about on the show and cigars that they're going to be smoking upcoming as well. This is a procured 5-pack that they do the selection for. They send it to me and we assemble it, put it together, and we put these pretty cool holographic stickers on them. So use your coupon code, that RealSmoke 10 coupon code. Get your 10% off. Support Mick and Charlie, and by supporting them, you support us. We are genuinely appreciative of everything that you guys do. And as always, stay tuned to this episode and future episodes of the Real Smoke Podcast. Thank you.
So a couple of things really quickly. One, I think he's the only person in my life that I've allowed to call Charlie without like cutting his legs out from under him. Just saying. The only way he could make it worse is if he said Chuck, and then I would probably have to catch a flight just to go down there and whip some tail. But just saying, he caught the first time I saw this and he said Charlie, I was like, oh. So many nightmares of being called Charlie and Charlie Brown and all that wonderful stuff. Hate that. But anyways, it works for him. And number two, he has a mic, but he still sounds kind of quiet. Just saying.
He does. I also have a few things for that. We somehow still have like 2 or 3 of those freaking 5-packs left. I'm probably going to buy them myself if somebody doesn't buy them this week because it's such a good 5-pack and it's such a good deal. I'm going to buy them. And second, that code is Real Smoke. So there's
that code is Real Smoke. There's not a Real Smoke 10. And check out those. You got something from Bunny. You got something from the Clowns. You got something from Oz. You got Forte Libre. And then we got something for Patina on there. I mean, check out that stuff. So go get that. So that price right there, put in the code. You know what to do. Do the thing. Do the thing. What do you say? Do the thing.
If not, me and Charles are going to have some extra cigars. I mean, I honestly, it's not because I do kind of feel bad that they didn't sell out as quickly as we thought, but it's also great cigars at a great price. So, you can never have enough of them.
Well, I mean, one thing I like to say is that There's a difference between buying from a huge big box store and buying from them. They are, I mean, we've joked about it for the last couple of weeks. They're a small mom and pop shop. We know who the mom and who the pop is because, they've let us know. But they're a small mom and pop shop that, the money doesn't go to some big corporation. It goes into funding and building out and making their shop better, getting in more cigars and helping out their community. So when you help out us, you help out them. When you help out them, they help out their community. So go check out Cigar Vault Oakdale. Go put in a search Real Smoke. Also type in the coupon code Real Smoke. Go save something, get some great stuff, do that thing. You know what to do. We're in week 3. Go ahead and finish wiping this product out. We need to go ahead. We can't start on the next month until you guys wipe this out. So help us out.
Or don't. We'll buy them. But yeah, go buy them. Yeah, man.
Don't.
So it's been another good week. I took today and tomorrow off because it is me and the wife's 28th. I knew I was going to get that from you. Me and the wife 28th anniversary on Saturday. So trying to spend a little time with her. We're going away tomorrow out near in the Murfreesboro area. So yeah, we're trying to spend a little time with her, and it was a little much needed break from work. So it was good. Definitely a good couple days. Did you see my post yesterday? I know you're gonna get the finger on this one too, but did you see that signed box by Michael Herklotz? Pretty sweet.
No,
you didn't
I
see
did
that?
not. I did not.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. He sent. I got my cigars from that giveaway yesterday from Piero Tego, and yeah, just amazing. That's probably the coolest I've ever gotten. I did not expect it to be signed. It basically said, "Enjoy these cigars in great health and with great friends." He did it, and
That's pretty cool.
I'm not usually one to keep a box, but that's one I'm going to be keeping. It's really
That's
cool.
awesome.
So great cigars in a signed box. Can't.
So you're talking that you're going on your anniversary. You're basically an anniversary trip.
Yep.
You have another trip coming up, and it's not really a trip for you. It's a trip for a bunch of other people. So TriStar Herf Crew has their West Tennessee Herf coming up. So why don't you let everybody who may be listening know about that one, because it's not only for TriStar Herf Crew, it's open to the public. So why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so next Saturday at Memphis Filling Station, we're going to be having the Western Tennessee Smokeout 2025. Haze Gray Cigars is going to be there selling their product and rolling cigars. Rue's going to be on the rolling table. And if you haven't met Rue, Pedro, and Val, just incredible people. One of our sponsors, but that's not why I'm saying this. Their product's amazing. We've reviewed their cigars. They're great people. But they will be there all day. Memphis Filling Station is going to be doing a special stout for us, a smoked vanilla stout for the TriStar Herf Crew Day, for everybody, but for us. And we're going to have the whole back area. Come say hi. Even if you don't smoke cigars, come say hi, hang out a little bit. Probably some cornhole games going on. It's going to be a great day. So just let us know if you're coming. Don't let us know you're coming. Just stop by and say hi. It's going to be a great day.
So, and I know you'll be there. I probably will not be there. Are you going to have anything that is podcast related there? That if somebody happens to come up that you don't know from TriStar, and they come up and say, "Hey, Mick, look at that! It's a beer can. It looks like a liquid smoke can, or a liquid death can."
It does.
I like that. So
that's our new sticker, designed by that guy over there to my left or right, whichever side he's on. And yeah, I just had these made. There's going to be quite a few of these floating around, just to kind of throw that out there. And also, if you're interested in a great social cigar club, great people, great members, president, not only just a member, a president, and I'm the Western Tennessee captain. So we're at Herf again. There's going to be live music that day. It's going to be a great day, and I'm still hoping that guy over there can possibly find some way to venture out this way, but I know it's very unlikely.
So, guys, if you're not a TriStar member and you happen to show up, come find Mick and just say, "Hey, I listened to you guys," and come get one of our stickers. You're more than welcome. You probably already follow us since you're listening to us right now. You're more than welcome to snip off the QR code, leave the QR code somewhere else, go stick it somewhere else, and keep the sticker. or you can keep it all intact. But if you get one of the stickers, take a picture of it. Let us know that you got it. We would love to see it. So let's see. Let's jump into some comments really quickly just before we get into everything. Chris is on here. He says, evening, kids. He's usually saying that. Psalmist is on here. He says, sup, everyone. Get your ends ups on here. And he says, sup, fellas. Chris says, oh, Fuel, Charlie, LOL. I knew as soon as I saw him in here and I knew I said Charlie, he was going to jump all over that. Thanks for letting us know that you hate. No, I don't hate Charles. Actually, I don't. I'm happy that I was named Charles just because of where it came from as my grandfather. Do I like the name Charles? No, I really don't. Because I even have a hard time saying my own name. So I can't even say name. Not cheating, honey, just with Real Smoke Podcast. 100%. Ladies, if you just happen to be watching, or gentlemen, if you're watching on here, one of the things that you can tell your ladies is, honey, trust me, I am not cheating. Every Thursday, I am watching the Real Smoke Podcast. So there you go. Josephus says, let's freaking go South Carolina, or South Central North Carolina in the MFN house. Wow, Josephus showed up with some energy tonight. Love it. 28, congratulations. Nice.
Thank you.
Samsa says, Josephus comedy. South Central North Carolina hurts my brain. 100%. Hour outside Charleston, they're just talking between themselves. Go ahead. Let's see. Mitch is on here. Uncle Mitch is on here. Says, beautiful Thursday evening from Pigeon Forge.
It is beautiful.
All righty. So before we kick everything off, brother, do you have anything else you need to talk about?
No, man. Real quick, I was just gonna say too, if anybody's looking for a great cigar of the month or cigar pack to join, I guess not club. I don't know. Now here we go. See, I did
so well. Cigar of the month club.
There you go. See,
Cigar of the month club.
Yeah, it is what it is. Smoking Cigar of the Month Club. Great subscription box. 5 great cigars sent to you every month. Great price. Use the code RSNEW. You'll get a free cutter and torch lighter. So, yeah, just 5 great cigars delivered to your door every month. We enjoy ours. It's always something I'll smoke, and great boutique brands in there. So, give them a look.
Awesome. So before we introduce tonight's cigar that we are smoking, let's go ahead and bring on the sponsor of tonight's cigar, the Tonight Cigar Show. That kind of sounded weird. Let's bring on tonight's sponsor of our cigar that we are smoking tonight. It is none other than Robert Courtner with 13 Knives.
Hey guys, this is Robert over at 13 Knives, and I want to wish you a very happy Freedom Awareness Month from Middle Tennessee. And I want to tell you a little bit about the Bulldog Cigar Cutter. Ooh, pretty. Which I make in the shop right behind me. All my materials that I use are sourced right here in the United States of America. American made. America. I use 1095 hard carbon steel, purchased right here in the great United States. I do not use foreign materials in my products. You know who else doesn't use foreign materials in their products? People like Betsy Ross, George Washington, and Davy Crockett. They did not use foreign stuff in their products. So if you love America and American-made things, come check me out on Instagram. XII_Knives_ on Instagram. That's 13 Knives on Instagram. I'm Fred Durst, and I approve this message. Keep rolling, rolling, rolling.
All right, I know I said last week was going to be the last week I was going to play that one, but I had to do it one more time. Robert, I am pushing it to the back of the file. I'm putting up the nursery rhyme one next week. I promise. Sorry. But yeah, check out 13 Knives. You cannot find a better, cigar knife out there. So for anybody who's looking for a cigar knife, check out 13 Knives. You won't be disappointed. So Mick, let's talk about tonight's cigar.
Tonight's cigar is brought to you, as Charles said, by 13 Knives. Rebellion Cigars, Ring of Fire. Wrapper, undisclosed Maduro, binder, Connecticut, filler, Honduras, and Nicaragua. Price is right there on the screen. It's about an average price, I believe. And we're looking forward to getting into the cigar tonight and reviewing it.
If you go by typical prices, it's a below average price, which makes it
True.
a great price. Just saying. Just saying. All right, so we're about to bring on our guest for tonight. Before we do that one, let's go ahead and talk to our people over at Destination Cigars. So step into the world of Destination Cigars like never before at Destination Cigar Lounge, home of the exclusive Allegory cigar brand. Whether you're kicking back at Governor's Crossing in Sevierville, Tennessee, or savoring the vibes at New River in Beckley, West Virginia, or soaking up the rich aromas in Almost Havana and Hurricane, West Virginia, every visit is an adventure. From top-tier cigars to expert recommendations and a laid-back atmosphere, it's the perfect place to relax, connect, and enjoy the craft. If you are looking for bold, unforgettable flavors, escape to the world of Allegory cigars. Kick back with the rich Mexican San Andreas dividend, enjoy the smooth intrigue of the censored Sumatra, or fire up a bold, flavorful Escape Habano. For more information, you can follow them on Instagram at destination_cigars, or you can explore more by visiting them online at destinationcigarlounge.com or take a journey to one of their 3 locations in West Virginia and Tennessee. No matter where your cigar journey takes you, every blend is an experience worth savoring. Where the road ends, the perfect smoke begins at Destination Cigars. So tonight, we want to welcome to the stage the one, the only, Mr. Shaun from Rebellion Cigars, who is hanging out with us at 1 o'clock in the freaking morning because where I thought he was going to be in Florida just enjoying the evening, he's freaking back at home in England, staying up way past his bedtime to talk to 2 rednecks from the great state of Tennessee. So, what's up, Shaun?
How we doing, fellas? You okay?
Doing good, buddy. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm very good. I've had a good night out tonight. I've been to see the Illegal Eagles at the local theatre in Swindon. So they did all the great hits, and they finished with Hotel California. So what a high!
Nice.
And then I came back to do this. So even better.
Your wife was like, "Hey, let's go out. Let's have another drink." You're like, "No, I can't." She's like, "I don't like you now."
Dear.
No, that's
That
awesome,
was
man.
all
No,
good.
we're excited to have you on, man, and taking that time, especially at that time in the morning, to come hang out with us, man. I've been excited for this one. You always bring energy, man. And, that's always fun to be a part of. And we kind of we always feed off the energy of our guests. So
That's all the sugar I had.
He drunk 13 Red Bulls about midnight just so he could be ready to be on here.
Yeah. Double espresso. That's what I was on.
He's going to have to run laps around his house just to get tired, just to go to bed. So,
Oh dear.
so where in England are you living? Where are you at?
I'm in a place called Swindon, which is about 17 miles west of London, just on the edge of the beautiful Cotswold area of the UK. Now the Cotswolds it's all the stone cottages and the stone houses. So if you like, we watch loads of American TV. If you watch any British TV, that's probably what you'll see. You'll see the oldie worldy type cottagey type stuff. That's close to where we live. It's beautiful.
So how much time are you spending between England and Florida? Because the last time we talked, because the first time I got to meet you was when I had you on with TriStar, and we got to let the boys and girls from TriStar get to know who you are. And you're sitting on your back porch in Florida, which is, Eastern time zone. So that's what I was thinking. I was not thinking that you would be in England. So how much time do you spend between the both?
Not enough time in the States, if I'm honest. So the plan was always to try and winter in the States because the weather in the UK in the winter is terrible. The weather in Florida in the winter is beautiful. So we are out there for 3 months from October. So all of October, November, come back towards the end of December, back out again in February next year. So that's the plan. But as I said to you earlier, Charles, my daughter had her first child 4 months ago. So that's my first grandchild. So we're just going to have to.
Congratulations.
We're just going to kind of have to see how that one works out.
Yeah, Granddad may have to be home a little bit more than what he normally would plan.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
So really quickly,
on the opposite side of it.
I was just going to say this. We have a brother with the TriStar Herf crew who is, he's one of our newest members, and he's from New Zealand. And he said, question, bangers and mash or fish and chips? Follow-up question, with or without mushy peas?
Fish and chips, and never with mushy peas.
There you go.
That just ruins it. And actually, if you come to the UK and have fish and chips, curry sauce.
Curry sauce.
That's curry sauce.
That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard.
Dip your chips in the curry sauce. Beautiful.
Love it. No, it's can't go wrong with a good fish and chips, man. So I was going to ask you the opposite. So what part of Florida, when you're over here, are you in?
Just south of Orlando, in a place called Davenport, and we live in a community called Providence, just close to a golf course. So I love golf. So when I come over, my perfect afternoon, we go out late when the course is quiet. My perfect afternoon, play around at golf, smoke some cigars, enjoy the sun, and then come back, sit on the porch, smoke some more cigars. It's just great. Yeah.
I got friends and family in Florida, and we travel down there quite a bit, a few times a year, and it's there's definitely some beautiful areas down there. But our favorite time to visit is like November, December, because that's when everywhere else in the world the weather's getting shitty, and you can still be down there and comfortable, the whole time, and still spend some time on the beach and enjoy some cigars outdoors, which you can't do most places up, even a few hours north.
Yeah, I think it's the best time. I mean, we've been there in the summer. It's too hot and humid. If you go in sort of late Jan, Feb, the weather's great, but it's very busy because that's kind of the season. So I think the best time is October, November, because it's not so busy. It's quiet. You can get into lots of places. Golf course is quiet. It's cheaper, so it's definitely the time to go.
Absolutely.
See, I lived out that way for a couple of years. You're talking about you're south of Orlando. I was a suburb north of Orlando. So I could not stand living there. I love visiting. I still visit. But living there was rough. Growing up as a kid living there was rough. School systems were rough.
Right. School systems are rough anywhere, though.
Yeah, I would say so. So let's go ahead and since you're an English boy, let's talk about growing up. Where did you grow up? What was you like as a kid?
So I grew up in a place called Warrington, which is midway between Liverpool and Manchester. So that's the north of England, where the Beatles come from, and they speak a bit funny up there. And I moved down south quite young. I was a very square. I don't know if this translates. Do you know what square means? So very straight leg. My parents made me very straight.
He was a good kid.
I was a good kid until probably mid-teens, and then I decided that I didn't want to do that anymore, and kind of, did things you shouldn't do as all kids do. So that was my upbringing. Both my parents worked, so I was left to my own devices quite a lot, which was great. So I got up to all sorts of mischief.
What kind of things are you getting into as a young man, as a young teen?
Well, we used to do all sorts of stuff like, do you know what knockdown ginger is? You probably don't, right? So it's a game that kids play where you go and knock on somebody's door and run away, and you just basically piss them off.
Okay, we have a different name for that here, right. But yes, know exactly what that is.
Yeah, and we used to have mud fights all the time and play on building sites, which is a big no-no. We did a lot of setting fires on building sites because it just seemed like a good idea at the time. And then you go home and your mum would say, "Why do you smell of smoke?" Because Like parents know that stuff, right? And when you become a parent, you know. When you're a kid, you think you can get away with it. So we used to just do all the normal stuff that kids do. You know, it's all good. It's all good fun. And then when you become a parent, you say to your kids, "Don't you ever let me catch you doing that."
Brother, I can't believe how many things you just touched on that reminded me of my childhood. I'm like, it's and we lived on opposite sides of the world. I mean, it's crazy how kids are. You know, when you're a teenager, I got in trouble for blowing up mailboxes with M80s, like our fireworks. We'd throw fireworks in mailboxes and drive away. We'd also ring the doorbell, run away. I got kicked. I almost kicked out of private school for mooning girls when I was like in the elementary school. And in high school, I set a desk on fire, and they had just revarnished it, and it was like a bonfire in the middle of the classroom. And I tried to deny it was me, and like I got in so much trouble growing up. But when you said about coming home smelling like smoke, that was my whole, like from 16 until I moved out when I was like 18. Like they were always like, "Why do you smell like cigarette smoke?" I'm like, I was at the bowling alley. I was in there bowling, and I smell like smoke because you could smoke in there then. Yeah, they didn't believe it for a second.
And the thing is,
kids
now, I think, I mean, my kids are a bit older, but it's all mobile phones and computer games now. We didn't have any of that, so you had to make your own fun. You had to you had to find things to do, and then when you got bored, you got into doing stuff that you probably shouldn't have done. But that was just part of growing up.
I don't know what that was, but anyways.
No, I lost it then.
Yeah, that was great. My eyes just went, whoa, what was that? So growing up, what were you into? Were you a sports kid, or were you a school kid, or what was some of the things that you were? I mean, you just said a couple of cities that you lived next to, and I'm not a soccer guy or a football guy, but listening to Mick and when he talks to other people, coming to find out, those are two big soccer communities.
Yeah. So when you live up there, my dad's best mate was a Liverpool Football Club season ticket holder. So that was the first team I ever went to see. And I remember going to see them. I'd have been, I don't know, 8, 9 or 10, something like that. And I went home and I said to my mum, "Can I stay up and watch Match of the Day?" which was the TV program on the television. Normally about 10 o'clock at night, where they showed all the games. She said, "But why do you want to stay up and watch it? You were there." I said, "I know, but every time they got close to the goal, everybody stood up and I couldn't see anything. So I wanted to see the goals." So she let me stay up and watch it. So I became a Liverpool supporter. So when you're born in that part of the UK, you either become Liverpool, Everton if you're Liverpool side, or Manchester United, Manchester City, and there's a great rivalry between all those clubs. So I'm Liverpool, but I used to play every sport under the sun. So I used to play squash, tennis, basketball. I got very good at basketball, actually. My favourite sport was rugby. So that's a bit like American football, but without the pads. And it's a hard game. And I gave it up in my late. I gave up when I was about 18, 19 because I was always getting injured, broken ribs, It's just like, I can't do this anymore. Life's too short. But rugby's a great game. Yeah.
I absolutely. Anytime it's on TV, I will watch it. I've actually I've had when I used to coach soccer, football, soccer, whatever you want to call it. When I used to coach, I had my captains always read the book on rugby. I always forget The Legacy. The All Blacks.
Yeah.
Such a great book. But anyway, I love rugby. I still don't fucking understand it at all, but I love it. I love it completely. It's great.
Well, somebody very clever once said, so football, soccer is a game for gentlemen played by thugs. Rugby is a game for thugs played by gentlemen. So and it's a great game. It's a great camaraderie if you get in the team. I never got that far because I gave it up. But I know guys who have played rugby to quite a high level, and the tours they used to go on, and the drinking and all the usual good stuff that you get on a sports tour. But rugby is just a great game.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. I'm gonna going to get on my soapbox here for a minute, and this is just a theory that I have stuck with my entire life, and I don't know if there's anything to ever back this up, but I still think the biggest reasons there's so many concussions in American football is because of the size and all the gear that they wear, because they're literally a projectile throwing themselves at another human being. In rugby, they're hitting just as hard, and there's concussions, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's at as high of a level because they're not wearing all that gear and they know they can't go in head first because they're not like completely protected. So, I mean, that's always been something I've always thought. Well,
I was always taught when you're growing up, if you get your head the wrong side of a tackle, it's your own fault. So, you always try to tackle with your head. If you tackled right with the head the right side, then normally you'd be okay. But now you watch these guys now. I mean, these guys are, even the backs that used to be small, even the backs are 16, 17, 18 stone, and they're hitting each other hard, and it's really good now with all the microphones they've got around the field and everything. You hear those hits, so you can feel them from watching.
See, the only time that I ever get to watch rugby is during the Olympics. I am a huge Olympics fan. So, like everybody always says, their favorite time of the year is football season or basketball season. Mine comes every other year. It's the Olympics. It doesn't matter if it's winter or summer Olympics. I am glued to the TV. If I'm not watching it, I'm recording it on my TV. So I watch all of it, but I love rugby. And got into it, probably 5 or 6 years ago, watching it and really starting to go down the rabbit hole of the rules, because watching these people and then watching the girls rugby team, realizing put these girls up against some of our NFL players, these girls would kill them.
These girls are hard. Well, the Women's Rugby World Cup starts tomorrow. So and the England women's rugby team are the current world champions, I believe, and have been for some time. They're
nice.
obviously very good. But yeah, you watch that. I mean, those girls hit hard as well. Yeah, you wouldn't want
those girls. You wouldn't get
in the way of that.
Yeah, I mean, you look at some of our high profile, NFL players, and they're like little prissy prima donnas that don't want to get hit, and you put up one of these big old girls that's going to go lay him out. I would love to see it. I just want to see it one time. So, Smoking Psalms says he is 100% Southampton Football Club represent. So, and then he comes back and says football is the world sport, but rugby is played in heaven. So, all right. So let's move on from childhood and move on into growing up into your adult status. So what did you go to college, university? What was your goals once you started getting out of, like, I guess we would call high school?
So your high school was our senior school. So I did senior school. Okay. I did, and that's when I kind of started to lose it a little bit. So I didn't turn up for some exams. I just basically I wanted to go and earn money. So I had a couple of part-time jobs, and I'd rather go and do those. And so I went to college because, again, a parental thing, and it was kind of the thing to do. So our college is sixth form college, where you get A levels, and I did a year, and then I'd had enough. And I was doing 2 or 3 jobs, earning some money, and I thought, screw this, I'm leaving and going to go out in the big wide world. Because of course, when you're 18, you know everything. And your parents are like absolutely distraught that you're not going to get an education, but I couldn't see the point. So I left. I did all sorts of jobs. Most were shit. I did a job for 2. In fact, I did my shortest job was in a night shift in a warehouse picking Christmas decorations. Mid-December, it's freezing cold. I mean, Jesus, it was so cold. And I had to walk home in the morning at 6 o'clock in the morning. I also did one night shift in a butter factory, shifting packs of butter, and I worked in McDonald's. I did all that stuff, and I think that teaches you because they were crap. But it teaches you something. It teaches you the fact that you perhaps don't want to do that for the rest of your life. So you better find something you want to do. And I fancied becoming a salesman, because salesmen got cars and I wanted a car. And I at age of 19, I managed to get myself a job as a trainee salesman selling cash registers. So you'd walk up and down the high street and, you know, go in and see everybody. Do you want to buy a cash register? Do you want to buy some till rolls, that sort of stuff? And for some reason got quite good at it. And, you know, that was kind of the start of my career in sales. And I got a car, started earning a few quid, and I thought I quite fancy this. So, and that's what I carried on doing.
Man, it's again, it's so cool. Like when this is just like sitting in a lounge. This is why we enjoy our show. Like, because we get into these conversations, and it doesn't take long to figure out why people connect. You know, when you start telling stories and kind of talking about your past. Just hearing you say that you at 18 you thought you knew it all. I moved out of the house. I got married soon after. That was what I was talking about earlier. Our 28-year anniversary coming up, and we thought at then we're like, we'll just have regular jobs. We'll buy a house. We'll have a great. Holy fuck! It takes a lot more than that to get where you're going.
Yeah,
it's always this windy path to try to get to some kind of finish line, and yeah, no, it's great to hear that, man. But so that I would say just guessing, you know, I'm not trying to get too far ahead on your story here, but I imagine the lessons you learned over all of those jobs probably taught you
well,
a lot.
The biggest lesson you learn in sales is people say no to you a lot, and if you take it personally or take a step back, you're sunk. So if you want to be successful, you have to keep going, and every time somebody puts a wall up, you got to go round it, over it, through it sometimes, but you just got to keep going. And that for me was always the biggest lesson. So it's having a positive attitude all the time, because if you wake up in the morning with it's another day, you're sunk. So you've got to wake up, be positive, and that positivity comes across in front of the customer, and then you're more likely to be successful. Because I always maintain I've had, I think, a fairly successful career, and the last 20 odd years I've been in a senior management position, but I think that all of that's come from those first couple of years, cold calling, knocking on doors, being told to fuck off, and getting up every single time and going back at it. And yeah, I liken it to the golf course. You know, every time I play golf, you hit a bad shot. If you stew on it, you'll hit another bad shot and another bad shot and another bad shot. The bad shot you've just hit is the past. It's what happens next that really, really counts. And that, I think, is the biggest lesson. And I think, you know, that positive mental attitude. I mean, I've always had a thick skin, which I think I get from my mum. And I've always been up for a fight, not physically, because I'm useless at that sort of stuff, but mentally I'm there. You know, if you wanna do something, you've got to get out there and take it.
So this isn't the first time that we've been told this, because we had Lee Mac 912 on a couple of weeks ago, and his tagline that he always uses is that every morning when you wake up, you have to tell yourself to have a great day, no matter if it's a truth or a lie. You have to tell yourself to have a great day. And it's one of those things where it doesn't matter the shit you're going through. You just got to get up and go after it and, you know, do what you got to do. So I think that's the attitude that more people need to have.
Well, you know, it's like when you're ill, you've got a cold or a stinking cold or something, and you get up in the morning, you think, I feel crap, right? You can do two things. One is you can feel sorry for yourself and lay on the couch. Well, the other thing you can do is you can get yourself in the shower, you can get some tablets down your neck and get on with the day. Because nobody gives a shit how you feel. People will say to you, how are you? That's just being polite. Nobody says to you, how are you? And wants to hear, well, I'm not very well, actually. They want to hear you say, I'm great, thanks.
Yeah, they want a simple answer. They want a simple answer and just walk by you because they're saying it to be nice. They're not saying how are you for you to go stop them and say, well, my day is actually kind of shit because this happened. They would actually look at you and go, I really don't care.
No, I'm glad you asked. How long are you got?
Yeah. No,
it's a courtesy. It's a courtesy.
Yeah. There was somebody that posted something on Instagram that was welcome to the South. And it was, if somebody says to you, how are you? Your common response is good, thank you, and keep walking. Yeah. And then the next one was, they said, how you doing today? And the next one was fine, and just keep walking. Nobody's wanting to really know. They're just wanting to say hi.
But it's funny, you see, I always say I'm great, thanks. That's my stock answer. How are you? I'm great, thanks.
Mine is freaking fantabulous. Every time somebody says, how are you, whether it's at my job or whatever, I always look at them and say, freaking fantabulous. How are you? And usually if I say that, they just give me a look like, okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So go ahead, Mick.
No, I was just going to say, I usually try to throw people off and say, very well, and you, and they look at me like I'm crazy because I try to do some like Martha's Vineyard shit on them or something, where they're like, huh, what? So it's good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so we're out. We're kind of out of college and doing stuff like that. When did you start getting into cigars? What was the reasoning behind it? Was it a family member, or was it you just hanging around and decided I'm going to smoke a cigar?
Yeah, nobody I knew smoked cigars. So yeah, back in those days, right? My now wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, was a singer in a band, and quite often we would go to working men's clubs. So everybody's smoking cigarettes. And there was an advert on the television for a cigar called a Costella cigar. And the cigar was as big as that pint pot. So it was like that. And that was their advertising thing. It was the cigar that's as big as a pint. And frankly, I just thought it looked cool. So I thought I'll give that a go. So I started smoking those, and they, I wasn't earning much money then, and those things cost me, I think it was £1 for a pack of 5, so 20p a cigar, which was a lot of money nearly 40 years ago. So I started smoking those, and of course I was the idiot in the working men's club. They're all smoking cigarettes and roll-ups, and I'm thinking I'm looking cool, sat in the corner. I've got a burgundy tank top on, which is a sleeveless top. I looked a complete twat, but I thought it looked good, right? And what happened was somebody I knew went to the Dominican Republic and bought me back some proper cigars. They bought me back some Santa Damiana Robustos in a tube, yellow tube. They said, "Oh, you smoke cigars, Shaun?" And we were over in the Dominican Republic, and we saw those, and we thought of you, so we bought you some cigars back. And I'm like, "Oh, this is a whole other world. This is." So they bought me 5. So I took one out of the tube and I smoked it, and I thought, well, it's not as good as the Costella. I'm not getting any smoke out of this. It doesn't taste nice. So because my job was selling cash registers, I knew some tobacconists. So I went to my local tobacconist. I said, look, somebody's given me these cigars. What do I do? Because there's no internet. You can't look up on the internet how you smoke a cigar. You had to ask somebody. So I went to this tobacconist and I said, what do I do? He said, well, show me what you're doing. So I showed him. He said, right, the first thing you've got to do is you've got to cut the end off.
So you were trying to smoke these cigars without cutting the cap.
Without cutting the cap, right? Which is hard work.
Love it.
He showed me how to cut it properly, how to light it properly. Got to keep them humidified. Have you? So then I bought my first humidor, wooden humidor that leaked, didn't seal, and it was a bloody nightmare trying to keep it going. And then somebody went to Cuba and bought me some Cubans back, and I thought, these are good. So and that's kind of how I got into it. And I would smoke as I went through my 20s. I would probably smoke a cigar a month, because in the UK it's bloody expensive to smoke cigars. So I'd smoke about one a month, and then as I got a little bit older, that became one a week. Particularly as I then took up golf, and I thought, this is good. I'm outside. I could smoke a cigar playing golf. I'll kill two birds with one stone. Get some exercise, have a bit of fun, and have a cigar. And that's kind of how my cigar thing works. So I've been smoking cigars for the best part of 40 years now in some way, shape, or form.
So I got to ask you, because you said you weren't cutting them right. So that first one that you mentioned, it was as big as a pipe, the Costello or whatever it was called. Were they already pre-cut, or were they a tip cigar?
They're short filler cigars. So they're kind of like a Panatella type thing.
Okay, yeah, I just needed. It was going to bother me if I didn't ask you, because I'm like, wait, how was he smoking those? But he wasn't. Okay, I got you. So, so it transitioned from there for you. So. At what point were you like, man, I could see myself doing this someday? You know what I mean? Like, it obviously it had to click someday where as you progressed in your cigar journey.
So it was dead easy. I wanted to smoke more cigars. And so I thought, right, the best way to be able to afford to smoke more cigars is if I set up a cigar business. So this is, again, probably going back probably 30 years, birth of the internet. So this thing called the internet starting to come along, and I thought that'd be a great idea. If I set up a website selling cigars, I could buy the cigars at trade prices, and therefore I'm going to get them at half the price or whatever, and I can afford to smoke more and make a bit of money doing it. And that's when I found out in the UK that it was almost impossible to get anybody to supply me with cigars. So it's what I call, certainly back then, a closed shop. If you didn't know the right people and mixed in the right circles, then you were certainly not welcome to start selling cigars and taking them on. So, you know, life took over, and I parked the idea until I was about 50. So about 8 years ago, I started getting interested in it again because I was smoking more and more. And if I tell you, right, so so I'm smoking a Gordo Ring of Fire. Okay. Now, if I was to buy a good Gordo type cigar in the UK now, I would be paying round about £25 sterling. So that's $18. Sorry, not $18. It's about $30. Okay. If I was smoking a Cohiba Robusto cigar, I would be paying $100 a cigar. So, you know, Cubans now are £30-40 for the low end stuff upwards. And so that's kind of what got my interest peaked. And then the second thing that happened was I came to America. And I came to America and I went to a cigar lounge. I went to the Corona Cigar Lounge in Orlando. And it was like this epiphany. It's like, fucking hell. There's this huge humidor with, I don't know, 500, 1,000 different types of cigar. And I was like a kid in a candy store. I mean, my wife and the kids went because I'm like, well, just leave me. This is heaven. And you know, I basically went along and I bought 2 of this and 3 of that, and I just bought a load of cigars because they were like, you know, $5, $6, $7 a cigar. So it was a third, a quarter of the price I could get them in the UK. And so that holiday, I was smoking cigars, and that's when I decided I would always buy 3 cigars. I would always buy 3 of a particular type of cigar, one to smoke straight away, and if I liked it, I'd smoke another one a week later, and if I liked it again, I'd smoke another one a month later, and if I liked it again, I'd buy a box. If I didn't, I'd go back to it. Well, why didn't I like it? Is it better the second time? Is it better the third time? And that was kind of what I did, just to make sure that I wasn't dismissing something because I'd only tried it once. So then I thought, how can the Americans afford to sell cigars so cheap? Because if the retailer's selling it for that price, then obviously work it back to the wholesalers and the manufacturers who are also making margins. There's got to be some money to be made here, and I started looking at it in 2019, and it's a bit of a famous, well, not famous story, but the story goes, I was in Malta with some mates. We were pissed in a bar. We decided to smoke some cigars, and we had to pay like 30, 40 quid each for these cigars. And I thought, this is ridiculous, right? There's got to be a better way of doing this. So we just started chucking ideas around while we were sat smoking these cigars. And so I came back and I thought, right, I'm going to do this. So what do I want to call my company? So that was the first thing, because I hadn't even thought about how to get them and how to source them and how to blend them and all that stuff yet. And the reason I came up with the name Rebellion was because my initial thought was I want to sell them in the UK, and I was passionate that I wanted to create a cigar that was low cost so that the working person could afford to smoke a good cigar and not have to pay the extortionate prices that the Cubans were, because New Worlds were still fairly new into the UK. And that's why I came up with the Rebellion name, because it was kind of rebellion against all these people who said, you can't do it, or yes, I can, I'm going to, and all the stereotypes of cigar smoking in the UK. So that was the easy bit, getting the name. My wife's 50th birthday was in April 2020. So we just bought the house in Orlando. Right, what we're going to do is we're going to go to Orlando for a week. Then we're going to fly down to Nicaragua. I had meetings booked with, I don't know, 4 or 5 different factories. Go and do some blending, do some testing, do a deal and launch the brand. And of course, COVID hit. So that was that. And that's when I was saying to you earlier about when you get a brick wall thrown up in front of you, you either stop or you say, no, I need to find a way around this. So a lot of the factories went on lockdown, so wouldn't talk to me. So I spent hours and hours and hours on the internet trying to phone people, email them, all that sort of stuff. And eventually found a factory, said, yeah, we're still working. We'll send you a load of samples. What sort of taste profile do you want? And I think, I don't really know. So then I looked at all the cigars I'd smoked and kind of said, well, this is what I kind of like. So they sent me about 10 samples, and another factory came on board. And so I spent all summer trying different cigars, which was great. And I came upon the first blend for the first cigar we blended, which was the Sweet Child of Mine. And of course, during that time, because we're all working at home, I had a little bit more time. So we're starting to develop the logo, which just happened to be, we were in a lockdown party in the street, and I was talking to somebody about what I was doing. He says, well, I design logos. Great. This is what I want it to be. I want it to be a bit edgy, a bit rock and roll, blah, 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 blah. And I want it to be pink, which I'll come on to in a second. He came up with the way the Rebellion word is written, and the pink skull with the R in the middle. And then we added the Union Jacks later because we were very proud of the fact that we were a British cigar company. And then, that's it. We got it all made. We got the first shipment in. Customs seized it. Very good of them. Took us 3 months to get customs to unseize it. And we eventually launched the business in November 2020. Because again, the original idea was to launch in the US, but of course we couldn't get to the US. So we set up a website in the UK to sell our cigars, and we now sell our cigars and lots of other people's cigars because, again, we keep the price the lowest in the UK because that's what we're about. And about a third of what we sell is Rebellion stuff, and 2/3 are other people's cigars. So we try and support anybody and everybody. My whole philosophy was always about trying to get cigars that everybody could smoke, whether it's mine or somebody else's, I don't care, but just trying to get good cigars at good prices that people could afford to smoke. And then the pink thing comes about is because ever since I can remember, I've liked pink. It's just been my favorite color. So I've always worn pink t-shirts, pink jumpers, whatever. And when I was in America in the Corona Cigar Lounge and looking around, something occurred to me that all I could see were sort of browns and blacks and the occasional yellow. So, it's a crowded market. If you're going to try and stand out, you've got to do something a bit different. And if you stick something bright pink amongst all those browns and blacks, you're at least going to hopefully get somebody's interest. They might try the cigar, they might like the cigar, and then they might buy some more. And that's kind of, how the whole thing happened.
Man, it's like you looked at my notes before I came into this interview. So I love it. I love it. No, I was going to ask you though about the COVID thing, because I know I read that's where, when you first got started, you had planned to launch and had all these big plans, and COVID hit, and it kind of, but now that you've told that side of the story, it seems like it was okay. It wasn't a blessing in disguise. I'm sure it really hurt you getting off the ground, but it really probably gave you a time to establish how you wanted to approach the market.
Yeah, and we wouldn't be where we are now had that not happened. I mean, it's like everything in life, you are where you are because of whatever that's happened in the past. So that happened, and my wife at the time was working for the National Health Service, so she was fully involved in the whole COVID thing, and we managed to get a week's holiday in the Canary Islands in I think it was in October, because it had been designated as a green zone, and we're like, right, we're going, and it was deserted. We had a great holiday, and we just, we sat talking, and she said, look, I can't do this NHS thing anymore. It's just, it's killing me. So I said, well, look, I think the cigar thing could really do quite well, because I'm still fully employed in my job. And if we're going to do this properly, it needs a bit of effort. So long story short, she said, well, what if I pack my job in and did that? So she came home, she resigned, she designed all the website, and we now work together in the business. So it's our business. The kids are involved. The kids, because I love the fact you do all this stuff, right? But I don't really understand it. Maybe I'm a bit old, but I don't really understand it. I avoided social media until I started the cigar business, and then all of a sudden, how do I get people to know what I'm doing? Well, you can't advertise. You have to get onto Instagram or Facebook and all those things. So we did it. We didn't do it very well. And then about, I don't know, a year, 18 months ago, my eldest daughter and my soon-to-be son-in-law for my youngest daughter said, well, we kind of understand all this stuff, and we're quite good at videos and TikTok-y type things. Why don't we do all the marketing done? So, we pay them, we come up with the plan, and they put all the stuff together that you see on Instagram and whatever, Facebook and all the other good stuff. So it's a nice family business now. So, and again, when we're away in the UK, we've still got to pick and pack orders for customers, so they do all that. So it's a real neat business, and it turns over about £200,000 now in the UK. So from nothing to £200,000 in 4 years is pretty substantial, I think. And we're having a great time doing it. So we couldn't be happier.
So I know it was probably around 3 years ago. My wife happened to see some post somewhere about your cigar. So she fell in love with the label, the way it looked, and she's like, I got to try this. So she messaged the account, and I think she was talking to your wife, and she talked to your wife back and forth for quite a while. And we tracked down one place in the state of Tennessee that happened to have a cigar, and it was Ace of Spades.
Yeah.
And it was an hour and a half from where we were at. So we decided on a Saturday we were going to go drive and find this one. So they had them out there. We ended up buying some, brought them back and smoked them. And I was like, holy shit, I like this cigar. And I looked at her, and because we had, we're just coming out of COVID. We had the cigar club that, TriStar. I said, see if there's any way that you can get them to talk to us. And your wife was like, well, we've never done anything like this, but I guess we can try. And I think it was one of the first interviews that you've ever done with cigars. And we brought you on to talk to our guys, and it's been one of those things. And it just happened to be right when Mick joined the club. So it's been a while.
I remember it well. Yeah. Because I remember that your wife talking to Mandy and well, I'm going to go and buy some and getting them just in time ready for the podcast. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
But that's how things work, right?
And it was, I think it was like right when I joined the club, and it's amazing how much has passed since then and how much has transpired. Because now we're not just talking to a couple people in a private chat room. We're actually putting it out there, and it'll be on the internet for hopefully for quite a while until they decide to take it down. So it'll be good.
The beer was cheap. Yeah, pubs were a certain level. Working men's clubs were non-profit, so the beer was a bit cheaper. And all the workers from the factory would go to these places. And every Friday night, Saturday night, there was a band playing or bingo on or whatever was going on. And these were big establishments. You know, you'd get several hundred people in these things. So I'd actually originally met my wife because she was a singer but had done some acting. So she was Annie. She played Annie in the musical Annie when it toured the West End in the UK, and she went all around the UK, and I think she went abroad. She went to America. She took it to America. So when I was first introduced to her, I was doing a bit of acting because, again, I was at college, fed up with it. What else can I do? And a mate of mine said, well, I'm doing this acting thing over the summer. I thought, well, I quite fancy a bit of that. There'll be loads of girls there. And it just so happens there was, and it was Mandy. And so the Working Men's Club is where she would sing in the bands, and that's where I would spend most of my Friday and Saturday nights drinking beer and smoking cigars.
So what kind of music was she singing?
Well, she would sing in those days. It would all be kind of 60s and 70s because you wanted to get the crowd up dancing. So it was all 60s, 70s. Because it was the 80s when we were doing it, I suppose. Yeah, late 80s. Yeah, 60s and 70s music. So Beatles, Beach Boys, all that sort of stuff.
Nice. So going into you went through a whole lot of history on that one. So you go into looking for a cigar company or a cigar factory to do yours. What cigar factory did you decide to go with? And was it because they just happened to be, one of the first ones that reached out, or was it because, you met somebody with them and you connected with them? How did you decide to go with that company?
So we in the end, we had about 5 different factories sending us all these samples, and we narrowed it down because the cigars that this particular factory had produced were really good. So they were the 2 cigars we launched. It was the Sweet Child of Mine and the Voodoo Child. Now it worked great to start with, and then we had some issues, which we won't go into now. But and again, this is where fate kind of plays a hand. So we were a little bit unhappy with what was going on. We were trying to expand the range as well. And again, somebody who knew somebody said, oh, there's this guy in Honduras who runs a cigar factory. He's a really good guy. Why don't you talk to him? So I did. I phoned him, speaks impeccable English. He's a native Honduran, but speaks impeccable English. Young guy, he's mid-30s. So he says to me, right, I'll tell you what, when are you next in Orlando? Well, I'm actually there in about 3 weeks' time. He says, right, I'll fly out. So he flew out to Orlando, and we spent all afternoon smoking my cigars. And he told me what was in my cigars, right? So we'd never disclosed the blends, but he sat there and he smoked them. He said, well, I think it's this and I think it's this. And pretty much 9 out of 10 he got. So I thought, this guy knows what he's talking about. So again, he made some cigars with the same blend. He said, but I think I can improve them a little bit. And he did. So again, backwards and forwards, sent us some samples, and his name is Pedro Baird. We've been working with him now for 3 years, never looked back. He's a great guy. The factory is great. We've been to the factory. We've done some blending there. I've tried rolling, which I'm useless at. And that's where we are now in terms of we have a solid supply of cigars through his factory, quality controls there. He knows what he's talking about. He's been in the cigar industry since he was 2. Because if you live in Danley in Honduras, you basically make cigars. There's not what else to do. So, and he's great, and he can taste stuff. He's just really good at what he does. But he's a young guy who works incredibly hard. He works all the hours, and I'm so glad that we met through the person who knew somebody, because we wouldn't be where we are now without him. But again, things go full circle sometimes. So we've just literally relaunched the Voodoo Child in the UK, because we had a load of old stock and we were selling it, and we thought, once they're gone, they're gone. And then people get phoned as, oh, these cigars are bloody great. When can we get some more? Well, we weren't going to continue doing those, but we've just had another shipment. I think it's 50 boxes arrived 3 weeks ago, and we've already sold half of them because people like them. If people like them, we'd be stupid not to carry on doing them. So, that's life. You've got to take advantage of opportunities as they present themselves.
So this guy that you had come to your house, is that the same guy that you're working with now? Is he like your number one guy that you go to now?
Yes. So he's done all the blending. So the Rockstar range, which was the first range, he did the blending for that. Then Mandy says, well, let's do a country range, because that's my kind of thing. So he did all the blending for the country range. And again, we just sort of, sat with him and said, look, we want it to be slightly different, but we still want a Connecticut Habano and a Maduro in the range. So he says, what about doing this? What about sticking a Connecticut binder instead of the Indonesian binder that we have in the other cigars? Okay, well, let's try that. And we just try things. And when we went over to the factory again, Mandy doesn't smoke cigars, so I'm in heaven. She's kind of not so much in heaven, but I'm there. And I don't know if you've ever been to a cigar factory and had the chance to do some blending. It's brilliant, because basically you just get a bunch of leaves, you lightly roll it into a bunch and you light it, big flames, but you get the smoke output, and you know pretty quickly whether it's going to be somewhere near the taste profile you're looking for, and then you narrow it down by messing about with the blend until you think, yeah, that's right. Then you roll it properly, smoke it. Then you need to leave the same blend to rest a little bit to make sure it's going to be good further down the line, and all that sort of stuff. And that's kind of how we've always done it. And he's a great guy. So when we launched the Screaming Skull, similar conversation, right, Pedro? And actually the conversation went like this: we got the Ace of Spades. I want something a little bit more amped up than the Ace of Spades. And that's how we came up with the Screaming Skull. So we had about 5 or 6 different goes at that till we settled on the final blend for the Screaming Skull. And Ace of Spades is still my go-to cigar, but Screaming Skulls almost it's probably there now, actually. When you've just got 2 hours, you've had a busy week, and you've got 2 hours, and you think, right, what's my go-to cigar? And it's always been the Ace of Spades Gordo for me. I like Gordos, and that's what I smoke on golf courses. But Screaming Skull's kind of taken over from that now. So yeah, so he does it all for us.
Man, before we get deep into the Screaming Skull and what you have coming up and all that, but I first wanted to say, like, Charles's palate's always been outstanding. Like, since I've known him, that guy can pick out flavor profiles and stuff that I'm like, yeah, I guess I get. But like, since we do this every week, I'd say mine's grown quite a bit over the past year, and I'm starting to like pick up different flavors and really enjoy different nuances of cigars that I didn't know I enjoyed before, and especially with pairings. But I kind of wanted to go back to when you first said you met him. You're telling me that he sat down without knowing what was in any of your blends, and he pretty much knew the tobaccos that were in it, or got the same flavor profiles, or how did that conversation go?
Yeah, he was telling me which tobaccos he thought were in the cigars. It impressed me.
That's a whole nother level. That's a whole nother level.
The fact he flew over, that impressed me. That shows some seriousness. And then, look, he wasn't there to do anything other than prove to me that he knew what he was talking about, and he did. So yeah. and he has his own brand in Honduras that's very successful, which is 7 Cigars, and the guy knows his stuff.
So I want to go into, the naming of the cigars. So you go ahead and start getting your blends together. You're getting what you like. Did you have names picked out or a concept behind the names? Or did you and your wife look and say, okay, we've got 2 or 3 cigars that we want to put out there. What are we going to name them? How are we going to do this? How did you guys come up with the whole music kind of idea behind it?
Well, it's very simple, really. So again, to try and do something different and stand out, because nobody else had named their cigars in tribute to songs that we knew of. And so, again, in my later life, I love rock music. I mean, I just think it's the best thing ever. And so I thought, well, why don't we name them after rock songs? It's the Rockstar range. So what are my 3, if I go to my playlist, which ones do I play the most of? And it's actually Sweet Child of Mine and Ace of Spades. And they fit a Maduro cigar, I think. And then you think, well, I've got a Connecticut. You can't really, you couldn't have an Ace of Spades as a Connecticut. I don't think. It doesn't kind of fit. So Guns N' Roses, big influence on me. So Paradise City, well, that kind of fits a Connecticut cigar. And that's kind of how it all came about. So, You Shook Me All Night Long, Paradise City. And Paradise City, see, I'm not really a Connecticut cigar smoker. I am Habano, but really into Maduro cigars. But Paradise City is our best-selling cigar by a factor of probably 40% of everything we sell is Paradise City. And I have to say, I smoke them most mornings with a cup of coffee. They're just great with a cup of coffee. They just really go. So when Mandy wanted to do the her range of cigar, the country range of cigars, again, right? What songs do you really like, and will they fit the profile of a cigar? So Ring of Fire gives you a connotation of something, right? So again, you couldn't really have a Connecticut cigar called a Ring of Fire. Got to be a Maduro cigar, and it's as simple as that, really.
I will say that I've smoked through your line quite a few times now. I was a big advocate in our club for people trying your cigars because I enjoy them. Ace of Spades was my favorite for a long time. I will say now, and you talk about Screaming Skull, and it's not one that's too light. That is my early afternoon kind of before lunch cigar because there's something about the flavor and there's something about the strength that kind of just gets me going for the day. And I love that cigar. So the Screaming Skull it would depend on the day, but between the Ace and the Screaming Skull, those are my 2 favorites.
Yeah. You haven't tried the Screaming Skull yet, have you?
You sent me one when you sent me one when you sent me one. I don't even think it had a band on it.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
You sent me one when we first started. We were talking about something when we first started the podcast, and you sent some hats, and you said, "I have a new cigar coming out.
Yeah.
I want you to try this." Right. And when I smoked it, you said, "This is going to be the new Screaming Skull. It's going to be it's going to be it's going to be a while out." Yeah. And I love that cigar.
Yeah. It's great. And again, if you're going to have a dark cigar, you can't call it something. It needs to hit you because the cigar's going to hit you. And, it was our 5th anniversary cigar. The skull is our logo. Mandy came up with a name. What about Screaming Skull? And it just seemed to fit. So there we are.
Oh, yeah.
I got to ask. So you said your wife doesn't smoke cigars. Did she ever smoke her own cigars that she named or helped name, like just to try them?
She's tried them, yeah. She's not a cigar smoker. She's just not a cigar smoker. She unfortunately she smokes vapes, which irritates the life out of me because, and I'll tell you for why. And I tell her this. It's not a secret. But the problem, see, with a cigar, I'm in my man cave now, right? Or I sit outside. I'm either in here smoking or outside smoking. Okay, and I've got 2 hours for me to smoke a cigar. The thing with vapes is it's a constant bloody. You're puffing on it all the time in the house, in the car, and it winds me up no end. But each to their own.
All right, so you got your name set. Where did you start pushing your cigars? Which market did you go into? Did you go into the European market first? Did you try bringing them over here first? How did you go into introducing the Rebellion cigar line into the world of cigars?
Right, because of COVID, we had to do the UK first. So that was fine, and it took us probably 2 years to really become established. Doing stuff like this, getting samples out to people who do reviews, all that sort of stuff, and the name starts to spread. But we always wanted to do the US market, and again, I think the first time we could travel to the US would have been 22. Yeah, 22. So we did TPE and we did PCA, and we picked up some good contacts, some good customers who have stayed customers. We also did Intertobac that year. Is it 20? What are we 20? 23. Sorry, we did Intertobac in Europe in 2023. And again, there's a little story behind that. So we did Intertobac, and this is where my naivety comes in sometimes. So I'm there giving out samples. I picked up a customer in Estonia, which I'll come on to in a minute because they're very important, but picked up a customer in Estonia. And I had all these German customers coming to me saying, love the cigars. Have you got track and trace sorted out? I thought, what the fuck is track and trace? So again, big learning curve. How do we navigate that? And actually, most companies were saying, look, we don't want to do anything else at the moment because we don't really know how this track and trace thing is going to work. We don't want to overload ourselves until we know where we are with it. But as it happens, this guy came along in 2023 to Intertobac, and he took an ace of spades. And I had a phone call in probably November last year, and he said, I don't know if you remember me. He said, but I came to Intertobac and I smoked your ace of spades, loved it. He said, and you very kindly gave me another 5, and I've aged them and they're good. He says, me and my mates are ready to do something in Germany now. So, and I absolutely love new businesses starting up and trying to do something, because I think it upsets the norm, and I'm all for. I think you hit the nail on the head earlier about small business against big business. I'm all for small businesses taking on big businesses, absolutely all day, every day. So he was right on my street. So he says, "Would you come over to Germany and do some kind of like test marketing for me?" Yeah, not a problem. So flew over to Germany. We, over the course of 4 or 5 days, we visited 20 different cigar lounges, and they all loved it. So they are now our distributor in Germany, and they're doing great business over there. And they've got the largest internet business in Germany on board. They've taken the whole range. We're Intertobac again in it's about a month, I think. And he's already got a load of meetings with bricks and mortar stores that are coming in. So I've got real high hopes for that. And again, it's all about, you've got to be out there doing stuff and finding stuff and finding people, and it will happen. You've got to work. So you've got to make your own opportunities and then grasp them when they present themselves.
So which markets have been the easiest and the hardest to break into?
The hardest one is the US, actually, because it's so big. So I could drive from one end of Germany to the other in probably not even a day. I drove from Orlando to Chicago back in April to do the pipe and tobacco show. Not quite. I knew it was going to be a long journey, but not quite realizing how bad the traffic was going to be at Atlanta. And Jesus, I'm never doing that again. I'll fly. But it's just the vastness. So if I'm sat in Orlando and somebody says, "Do you want to come and do a launch in Chicago?" It's not a, it's not a 2-minute job. So it's difficult because it's a very personable business in the US. I think more so than it is in the UK, more so than it is in Europe.
Yeah, I would say that honestly in the U.S., I mean, I don't know how other markets are, but a lot of it is that relationship that people have with their customers, and that also the store owners have with the brand owners, because it becomes more than just a cigar at that point. It's something that they're selling that passion, they're selling that love, that's behind it. So I would say, like I said, I don't know how it is in other countries, but it's definitely like that in the U.S. I mean, you walk in and every brick and mortar owner has their own favorites and people they love,
Sure. Yeah, and we've been mildly successful because we have some good bricks and mortar retailers over there who are consistently and constantly ordering. So that's good, because that means that the customers are liking the cigars and coming back and buying more, so they're restocking them. We sell through Best Cigar prices over there now. We've got Toro cigars on board. So slowly but surely it's expanding. And when we're over in the States, we try and do visits, but of course, because we're in Orlando, we tend to focus in Florida. But then we've got some good brokers working for us who have good relationships, so they're introducing cigars into various lounges. So slowly but surely, it's starting to gain traction in the US.
So I will say that, Mick, we have one of our I guess one of our sponsors coming from Florida up to the West Tennessee HERF. So sometime when Shaun is back in Florida and we have a HERF either in Nashville or in East Tennessee, we need to get him to come up and hang out with us, because it's not like driving to Chicago. It's going to be halfway. So it's going to be less than halfway, actually. So you were talking about, you can drive all across, whether it's, England or whether it's Germany. We laugh when we talk about me and Mick and where we live. From my house, I live on the furthest east that you can go in the state of Tennessee. Mick lives the furthest west. Interstate 40 will take me from my house to his house, and it's only 7-8 hours, maybe with traffic in Nashville, 9 hours.
Yeah,
only. That's just to go across the state.
I know, it's like when we did the PCA show in Vegas. It's a 4-hour flight back to Orlando. Well, from the UK in 4 hours, I can almost be in Russia. I mean, it's I can certainly get all the way across Europe. So but that obviously I've looked at maps. I know how big it is, but the reality on the ground is totally different to looking at a map.
We've talked to different brand owners, whether it's been privately or on a podcast. And if they're from here, they understand how big the United States is. When they're not from here, they're impressed with, I'm used to being able to go 4 or 5 hours across, my country, and I'm in some other country. I can go 5 hours and you're not even out of the state that you're in. Yeah. And they're like, it's just big. Yeah. So we're, you've got your blends, you've got your stuff that you're normally doing, but you've kind of hinted at it, the Screaming Skull. So you were one of, and we kind of made a joke about this in the green room. The first sponsor that Mick had for a guest appearance for me while in Memphis was Rebellion Cigars. One of the first Hatpalooza giveaways that we gave away was Rebellion Cigars. So, and it just happened to be that you were pushing out the new Eddie Hall edition of your cigars. So you have the Screaming Skull and you have the Eddie Hall. So let's talk a little bit about Eddie Hall. Okay. There's going to be people on here that don't know who Eddie Hall is. They're like, oh, wow, he's just another musician, or he's a cigar brand owner. Who's Eddie Hall?
So Eddie Hall, World's Strongest Man 2018, right? And so this is where Estonia comes in. So we picked up this customer in Estonia, and again, they took the cigars, first order, went really well, and they said, look, do you want to come over and do a launch? So of course I do, because that's only like an hour and a half's flight. So I flew to Estonia, and we did 2 launches on 2 consecutive nights. And the second night, we probably had about 30 people in the lounge, and in the corner there's three guys in very, very smart suits, and I'm going around saying, "What do you think, fellas?" And this guy says to me, he says, "Well, to be honest," he says, "I can't remember which cigar I was smoking now." I said, "I don't really like this. It's not really my palate." I said, "Not a problem. That's why we have a range, and everybody's themselves." And then hour and a half later, he comes up to me and says, "I really like this cigar." He says, "And by the way, Eddie Hall says hello." And I'm like, "Who the fuck's Eddie Hall?" So again, I'm going to cut a very long story short, but this guy basically does bespoke suits for people, very high-end suits that cost many thousands of dollars, and he makes suits for lots of film stars and sports stars and all this sort of stuff, right? And he makes suits for Eddie Hall, so he knew Eddie Hall. And he was sat there and he's texting, and Eddie's basically texted him saying, "What you up to?" "Well, I'm in a cigar lounge smoking some Rebellion cigars." And Eddie says, "I fucking love their cigars." And I didn't know, but he was a customer of ours in the UK. And how that happened was he'd gone into a shop where he lives in the UK. You just happened to sell our cigars. And he'd walked in and seen all this pink and thought, "Oh, that's right on my street," that, because he was a Cuban cigar smoker at that time. Again, Cuban cigars were going up and up and up. And he thinks, "I'm going to try all those." So he tried them all, and he settled on one particular type of cigar. And he used to buy a bundle of those cigars off us every few months. So this guy says to me, "Do you want Eddie's number? Eddie will talk to you stuff." So I said, "Oh yeah, okay, great." So when I got back from Estonia, I flew to the States. Now, Eddie was filming The World's Strongest Man in California. So I phoned him up. "How, Eddie, how you doing?" "Yeah, great. Da, da, da." I said, "I love your cigars." Conversation. "Do you fancy doing a collaboration?" "Love to." So when he was back in the UK that summer, I went up to his house. He's got a gated house, and you go through the gates, and either side of the gates, there's two big tanks. Both of which are road legal, and there's plenty of stuff on the internet with him driving these tanks up and down the road, all this sort of stuff. And we went and sat in his back garden, and we cut a deal, and we basically developed a blend that he wanted and that he would smoke. Now, he used to smoke Romeo and Julieta Wide Churchill, and obviously he's a big lad, so we needed to make something quite chunky. So we didn't want to go Gordo. We went a little bit less than Gordo. And we made something as close to a Romeo and Julieta as you can. You can't copy it, and obviously it's Cuban tobacco. Ours is not Cuban tobacco, and the rest, as they say, is history. So we launched that in PCA. We've got loads of orders to fulfill. Unfortunately, the boxes are still stuck in customs. They will be through customs any day now to the factory in Honduras, where they'll be filled and then shipped to our wholesaler in the US, City of Palms, and they'll be sent out to the stores that have got orders for them. And it's just great. He's a real sound bloke. He's real down to earth. He's got no airs or graces. He's my sort of bloke. He just likes to sit and smoke a good cigar. Happy days.
Now, I will say that you told us something in the green room that when I tell my daughter, who's in middle school, who's in 8th grade, when I tell her what he did for his daughter, she's going to try to figure out how I can do this. So you were saying that his daughter, we're not going to say her age, but she's prom age. How did he take her daughter or his daughter to prom?
So there's a YouTube, Instagram, whatever video of him driving his tank to his daughter's prom. So his daughter's got a nice prom dress on and a boyfriend in a nice suit and whatever. They're sat in the turret, and Ed is sat in the front driving. He's got dressed up as well. He's got kind of a chauffeur's outfit on, and he's driving it, smoking a Beast cigar with them in the back, and he drives her up to the prom.
Can you imagine what the underclassmen are going to be thinking? Like, okay, how am I going to top this one? All the girls are going to be like, okay, you saw what happened, so what are you going to do for me?
I know.
So
but honestly, he's a great bloke.
So since that's kind of officially releasing soon, what do you think the chances are to bring you and him on to release that on our show?
Yeah, I can ask him. Charles said earlier he'd like to get a signed box. I'll get that sorted out. Once I get the boxes, so you'll need to give me a couple of months, but I'll get up there and get him to sign one, and I'll sign it, and there you go. Yeah.
We've been reposting your stuff obviously for a while because we know you and whatever. But like every time I try to repost it and tag him in it, it gets kicked back and says, due to a large amount of inquiries, I will not be getting back to you. And I'm like, I guess there's no way to contact this guy.
No. I think, look, he's got 4.5 million followers, so he gets a lot of direct messages.
Well, maybe his cigar guru can reach out to him one day and say, hey, these blokes over here in the States want to talk to you about your history. So let's jump on here and talk to him.
Well, he has the only box at the moment because he phoned me a couple of months ago. He said, look, can you send me a box? Because I've got some influencers and stuff who want to do something. And I said, well, I've literally only got the sample box. So I filled it full of cigars. I sent it up to him. But once we get the full production stuff coming through, I'm obviously going to send him some of those anyway. So we'll get up there. Yeah.
Nice. So you're kind of bringing us into what's going on now. What are you looking for into the future? I mean, I know that the Screaming Skull and the Eddie Hall is coming out, in the next few weeks or months or so. So what are you kind of gearing up for after that? Or are you just sitting back and letting this one ride for a little bit?
Well, a bit of both, really. We're going to sit back and let this ride because we've got a lot going on with all that. But we've also, again, this is Pedro doing this. Pedro phoned me up. He said, I've managed to get a load of Candela wrappers. And I think if we use a particular blend with a Candela wrapper, it's going to be great. So we've already got a name for that. So what we try and do every year is we launch something ready for like Halloween. So last year it was the Demon Barber, as in the Sweeney Todd.
And that thing is so hard to get a hold of.
Yeah, well,
the last 2 years that you've come out with a Halloween one, I can never get my hands on that one. So people love that cigar.
I'll make sure you get some. But Mandy's got a name for this. So it's a green wrapper, but a very chocolatey cigar, and it just works really well. But getting the wrappers is quite difficult, so I don't know how many we'll be able to make, but I think that's what we'll do ready for next year. But I can't tell you the name because it's top secret.
I was going to say it's amazing. So we have a guy on here. I don't know if he's still on here, but Josephus. Every week he asks the brand owner, is there any plans on a Candela coming out? So you already made his night. I mean, you don't even need to ask a question tonight. It's great.
Well, I've never been a fan of Candela. That's the thing. But as Mandy will tell me many, many times, it's not all about me. I mean, when you start a cigar company, I can absolutely almost guarantee anybody who does this makes the first cigar for them, because your downside is nobody else likes them, but I like them, so therefore if nobody else likes them, I've got a load of cigars I can smoke. So you tend to focus on what you want, which is why the first two cigars were Maduro cigars, Sweet Child and Voodoo, because that's what I wanted to smoke. And actually it's been a real eye-opener for me, sort of messing about with different stuff. So I am amazed at myself how much I like the Connecticut ones. As I say, honestly, I get up in the morning, particularly in the summer when the sun's out, and I go and sit outside with a cup of coffee with a Paradise City or a 5 o'clock somewhere, and it's an hour of heaven for me before I start the day. It just goes so well in the morning. I wouldn't smoke one of those late in the evening because it's not powerful enough for me. But the Candela was a real eye-opener. I mean, again, Pedro made about 20 of them as samples to see how they'd work. And I gave them to some people, and they said, oh, fucking hell, it's great. So, and they might just have been being polite. But, yeah, I think we're definitely going to do that. We've already got the wrappers. They're sat, aging. So we'll be doing something with those next year.
So if you want to go into, I know you're a big boutique guy as well. You enjoy the boutique brands. So if you want to go down a rabbit hole into a Candela that's boutique, go check out Silent Heroes Candela. I've enjoyed Candelas, but I enjoy it for a different reason. When I smoked their Candela, that's become the Candela that beats Candelas.
Right.
It's not like you went out there next to the cow or the horse and started eating grass. It actually has different nuances to it. So if you ever get a chance to try that one when you're back in here, try that one. And when you're back in the States, if you can't find it, shoot me a message. I'll see what I can do about getting you one and letting you try it.
Yeah, well, so I'm over there for 3 months, so I'm definitely going to get you some more stuff anyway when I'm over there. And we'll do that for sure. Because as I say, I'm all for trying new stuff. I mean, I smoke a lot of my own cigars, but I'm always trying new cigars, because if you don't try them, you don't know what you might be missing. There might be a great cigar out there, and you think, well, what could we do to a similar blend and do something a little bit different that might be as good or whatever. So yeah, always try new stuff.
So go ahead, Mick.
No, I was just gonna say it's. I've only had a few Candelas in my life, but it's awesome, like Charles said. So yeah, if either one of us will send you one, man. I always keep a couple in my humidor. It's by far my favorite. It's so different than any of the other ones I've had. So yeah,
Perfect.
Definitely let us know.
I'll look forward to that.
So I'm looking behind you right now, and I see the big logo, which I love the logo. That was one of the things that drew me to what you guys do. Sorry. It was the screaming the skull that you have on there. Ever since you put out the screaming skull, now I just say that's the screaming skull. But the logo that you have the Union Jack beside you. I mean, it's great. So then I look beside it and I see a 10 on the wall.
Yeah. Yeah.
So is that something that you're going to sell on your site? Because as somebody who buys a lot of 10s, I have a lot of them on the wall.
Right.
So, I mean, the cigar industry is full of people who love swag. Yeah. You're currently wearing one. You guys supported our Hatpalooza. So I have, one of your hats. What are you guys doing up in the future with your website that's going to be supporting that kind of swag thing? Are you doing hats, T-shirts?
Yeah, so it's difficult because we don't sell direct in the US. So all the swag we have is available through the retailers. So like the tin sign, I got that idea when I was in a cigar lounge and I saw somebody else's tin sign. I thought, oh, that's a great, as you do, that's a great idea. What could we do with our brand? So we've got A3 ones. We call them A3 in this country.
Yeah, that makes
A4.
sense.
So yeah. There's a big one and a slightly smaller one. I'll get you some. I think they're great and they look great on a lounge wall to tell everybody that Rebellion cigars are available there. We've obviously got the hats. We sent you some cutters and lighters. I think, did you do something with cutters and lighters as well?
We did not. Oh, we did. We did the new cutter and lighter. We gave them away to two of our watchers. And then we had one of our viewers win your hat. Yeah. And his wife ended up winning a different hat. Right. And they ended up winning the cutters and lighters. So one of our members won your cutters and lighters and then sent it to them so they would have the whole collection.
Well, that's again is a little bit of a funny story with the lighter. So my daughter for Father's Day about I think it was last year bought me a lighter, right? And I'm very grateful she's thought about this and bought me a lighter, but I'm also thinking, well, I've got hundreds of lighters. Why are you buying me a lighter? She said, Dad, she says, you wait till you light it. And so I don't know if you can see this, right?
The flame turns pink. The flame
goes pink, right? So I'm like, I'm in. So I tracked down who made them and said, "Look, we want our own pink lighter with the pink flame," and that's how that came about.
So I went into a cigar lounge. So I met Mitch, who won the lighter and stuff. So he happens to be kind of local to where I'm at. So I said, "Hey, meet me at the cigar lounge," which just happens to be one of our sponsors. And I said, "You have to check this out." So he's over there sitting on the couch with me, and I said, "Okay, are you ready for your lighter?" And he's like, "Yeah." So I take it out and I said, "Watch this." And I shot that thing, and it turned pink, and he went, "Holy shit!"
I know, it's cool. Isn't it?
I did not know that. Like, how does that do that with regular butane? Like, it doesn't. I don't even understand.
It's got a special metal plate.
Okay.
So when it heats up, it does something, and it turns the flame pink.
That's crazy. That's
I
awesome.
know.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's like it was
the lighter is
it was
awesome
made for you. That's crazy.
It's unique. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bit.
That's
It's a bit of a gimmick, right? But it's just cool.
but it's great. It works.
I've never seen it anywhere else.
Yeah.
It's great.
Well, nobody else does pink, so they, I'm sure you could get different metal plates to make them all sorts of different colors, depending on, it's some chemical thing that happens. But I just thought it was great as soon as I saw it, and I said to Mandy, "We've got to have some of those." So yeah, it took about 6 months to get those, but we got them.
Well, Mick, if you look behind me, I've gone from purple to pink tonight. I told Shaun when he jumped on here, I said, "I got to change the colors. We're going pink." He jumped on here with the big pink hoodie, and it's like, "Nah, I got to go pink." So if you look at my microphone, I actually turned my microphone pink as well.
Oh, good man.
Awesome.
Well done.
So
I guess I failed, but good job. I like it. Yeah.
All right, Shaun. One of the things that we like to do as we wrap up the episode is we like to play a game that we call Hotbox Questions. The Hotbox Questions are 10 random questions that are not random to us, but are 100% random to you, unless you watch the episodes. If you watch the episodes, you know exactly what we're going to say. But what we have to do is always ask, are you interested in playing some Hotbox Questions?
Absolutely.
All right, so before we jump into that one, we do have to thank the sponsor for Hotbox Questions. It is the one and only, the person who gives our beards, well, not mine anymore because mine is short. So it gives Mick's beard the look that he desires. It is Beard Apothecary.
What up, Real Smoke family? John here from Beard Apothecary, coming to you from the Beard Apothecary headquarters. Want to let you know about a new product that we just dropped on the website. It is our first ever mustache wax, dubbed the Moustache Wax. This comes to us from a big help from our friend Larry Moose. Larry was instrumental in getting this whole thing together with all the research that he did and all the talks and the Zoom calls and everything to get this product out there. Larry tested this for us. We've got it dialed in. It is a very good medium hold wax that will help you keep that handlebar going, help you train that mustache. This product is no joke. Larry was a huge help. Thank you so much, bro. Real Smoke family, make sure you like, comment, and follow the page. Get these guys blown up. Don't let the beard look weird. Stay metal, my friends.
So huge thanks to John over at Beard Apothecary.
Yeah, John,
by the way, Tanya is our favorite Aldi, and you just happened to meet John not too long ago.
I did. Yeah, again, fate, right? So it was at Chicago, and the Big Fella's Cigar Lounge, Mobile Cigar Lounge, and honestly, it's superb what those guys have done with their trailer. And we were sat in there, and I just got talking to him and Randy, and so John's doing a bit of brokering for us now. He's a great guy, love him.
Yeah, John's a great guy. We love his product. He was the first one, as Charles always says, to jump on and sponsor us. He's one of our TriStar brothers, although he's usually busy on Tuesday nights now. We don't see him very often, but he's one of our favorites, man. He actually just met him in person for the first time here in Memphis. John, you need to make another trip because I'm almost out of beard product, and I don't like paying that much for shipping. So just letting you know.
Well, if you look at the advertisements that we've been doing for Shaun, the picture is actually the one that was taken at that event.
Yes.
So the biggest smile that is on any picture that Shaun has posted on any of his Instagram is that picture. And he's sitting there between Randy and he's sitting there between John. And so once I saw that picture, it's like, that's the picture I'm using. So that is, you could tell that he was having a good time that night.
We were. A bit of alcohol had been taken.
Yeah.
Well,
I
if
had
you
to
look, you're actually holding a rocks glass with something in it. So it was probably pretty good.
I had the same
Yeah.
experience the first time I met him in person. We had a great time here in Memphis, and looking forward to the next time as well.
Yeah. Good
All right,
times.
so I guess question number 1 of our hot box questions: what is the weirdest food you've ever eaten?
Snails.
Okay.
Snails with garlic. And they're actually okay.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Quite firm. Tastes a bit like mushroom.
That makes
Okay.
sense. They look like a moving mushroom, so that makes sense.
All right. So question number 2, fill in the blank for me. When it comes to cigars are all about what?
Relaxation and enjoyment, and that's it.
Absolutely, man. I couldn't agree more. We talk about it every week. Charles and I both have pretty stressful weeks on a regular basis from our lives and what we do, and we come on this show, and by the end of it, it's a pretty good night. We had fun, and we're more relaxed, and cigars definitely bring people together, man.
They do.
All right, so number 3, what is your favorite musical band or artist?
Guns N' Roses.
I somehow knew you were heading that direction.
Closely followed by the Eagles, who I saw the tribute band tonight, but I've seen the Eagles several times as well.
Okay.
But Guns N' Roses for sure.
So this is for Mick because he always says this is what he puts the music behind when he posts something. So give us some songs from Eagles or Guns N' Roses that you enjoy.
I mean, you can't beat Sweet Child of Mine, and you can't beat Hotel California. I mean, if you're feeling a bit down, you put Sweet Child of Mine or Hotel California on. That's it. It can't help but put you in a good mood.
Yeah, the post-show pictures and everybody where they can find the episode to rewatch it or whatever. I always need some music to do it, so that's why it's one of my questions. It sticks around.
Right.
All right, so question number 4, what is your favorite guilty pleasure?
Blimey. Well, a nice glass of whiskey with a cigar after a game of golf.
That sounds like a good day.
My daughter asked me the other day what I wanted for my birthday, and I basically said to her, well, you could buy me a cigar, but I've got loads of those. But any whiskey, red wine, and if you really want to push the boat, a bottle of Macallan 18-year-old. And then she found out how much Macallan 18-year-old is, and she swore at me.
So are you more of a Scotch or whiskey person?
Well, I'm very partial to Woodford Reserve, so it's really weird. When I'm in America, I drink bourbon. When I'm in the UK, I drink Scotch.
So you talk about Woodford. What do you think about Woodford Double Oaked?
Not tried it yet.
Okay. So as soon as you get back to Orlando, go to the first liquor store you can find, get Woodford Double Oaked. Let me know what you think.
Double Oaked. I will.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. It has for somebody, if you're working with your own cigars and you take something like the Ace of Spades or even the Screaming Skull and put it with a Woodford Double Oak, it's going to be something that blows your mind.
Cool. Right. I'm in. Done.
Yeah, man. I'm typically in Florida in November, usually for 2 weeks. So and it's only about 3 hours from where you're at, where my mother-in-law lives. So it's really sounding like we need to hang out for at least a day or two. I'm just saying.
You let me. You let me know. We'll absolutely.
Yeah, cigars, cigars, golf, bourbon, red wine, dry red wine. Like we could literally make a weekend of it. It'd be great, man.
We're doing it.
All right. So question number 5. I'm switching this up a little bit. So if you could choose a superpower, what would it be and why?
Teleporting. Because I hate airports. Travel. And I love to travel, I just hate the hassle of traveling. So if I could finish this now and then do that and be in Orlando, yeah, absolutely.
In other words, he says he hates 285 going through Atlanta.
Oh my God, that was what a journey, Atlanta. Oh,
Atlanta is horrible.
I mean, I had to drive. I drove through the middle of Atlanta, and I swear there were 10 lanes at one stage, and there are cars.
There's actually 6 at one point. There's 16.
16. Well, I couldn't count because I'm trying to hold on to the steering wheel and drive with cars coming at me from all angles, trying to find which exit I had to take.
Yeah, it's insane. It's horrible. So, question number 6: what is the one thing in your life that you're most proud of?
My children. They're great kids. Most of the time.
Every answer you've had, brother. Every answer you've had.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
Yep. I love it.
When they're in their terrible 2s and 3s, and when they first become a teenager, those are the years that you have to look past.
There's a switch. Honestly, I swear, my eldest daughter in particular, within 6 weeks of going to your equivalent of high school, so secondary school, you know, we used to have conversations, and then it just came to and grunting, and then they come out the other end around about 15.
Yeah, so mine just turned 14 yesterday. So she's in that 13, 14-year-old range, and we're two bulls just going at it right now.
Oh yeah.
And her and her mom are good, but me and her, we're just knocking heads right now. And she's my youngest, so I'm just praying that we can make it till she's like 15, 16 when she grows out of this. So I'm excited.
Absolutely.
I'm a little different. I'm a little different because but I have 2 girls. I got fixed and bought a male dog after I had 2 girls. So I knew it was over. I was already surrounded. So my oldest, the worst was like the middle school years where she couldn't figure out who was really her friends and who wasn't. And then my youngest from 16 to like 20, because my daughters are now 22 and 26. But holy shit, from 16 to like 20 for my youngest, Jesus mighty, she put us through hell. But it all turned out okay. They've all turned out great human beings.
They all come out the other end. Eventually, they come out the other end, and it's all good. But at the time,
it just depends on if you can survive it.
At the time, it's like, what have I done?
Yeah.
Well, see, my oldest is 23 right now. So when she was going through like her 14 to 15, 16 phase, we were the same way. And I was wondering, will I survive it? Then we had our boy, who was so easy going through that stage. I mean, he's still easy. And then all of a sudden it hits last year with the youngest girl. And it's like, oh God, here we go again. I don't know if I can do it. I just don't know if I can do it again.
Well, you just need to smoke more cigars. Just stay out of the way, smoke cigars.
Absolutely.
Come back to it in about 4 years' time, and it'll be like nothing's ever happened.
It all comes back around, man. It all works out.
It does, yeah.
All right, so this is one I always leave myself a blank spot to ask a question that I didn't get to ask during the interview. So why did pink become your favorite color?
I don't know. I think it was the need to be different because nobody else was wearing pink. So it was kind of rebelling without knowing I was rebelling. But ever since I can remember, you know, pink t-shirts and everybody used to take the piss out of me. You know, I got called all the names under the sun. I didn't care. I just thought I look cool. I don't care. You know, so my mates, who I've known for 20, 30 years, call me Pinky Boy. That's their original nickname for me. For my 40th birthday, they bought me a bright pink pool cue. So it's just a thing.
No, man, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. So was the Aerosmith Pink is my favorite color kind of song. Was that one of your songs at one point in time?
No, I don't really know how it kind of happened. It just did. I don't know.
It's cool, man. I honestly, I have no objection to it either. There's many ways to look at it, but it's not one of my least favorite colors, so it's good.
See, I get it because my favorite color is purple. So it was one of those things that growing up, boys didn't like purple. Yeah. I love purple. That ended up being my wife's favorite color. Right. And she always has it through her hair. It was our wedding, it was purple and white was our wedding colors. So it was one of those things that I get that. So I did not enjoy pink. I will say this. I did not enjoy pink until when I had your first cigar, and then I got the hat. When I got the hat, I even told Mick, I said, I don't like pink, but I love this freaking hat. It was the color of pink, and that for some reason, that color I enjoyed. So I actually, when it came between the pink and the black hat that you sent, I gave out all the other hats. I kept one pink because I just ended up liking the pink.
The black ones are boring. Everybody's got black hats.
Yeah, everybody.
Yeah, you've got to have a pink hat.
All right, so question number 8. What piece of advice would you tell anybody who is jumping into this industry? What piece of advice would you give them that you didn't know that you think everybody should know?
Well, the first thing is do it because you won't regret it. The biggest bit of advice is you cannot just produce a cigar, stick it on Instagram and expect to sell it. There's an awful lot, and I mean a huge amount of effort and hard work that goes into getting your brand about. It's a very, very crowded market. You've got to do something different, got to do something that stands out. Doesn't matter what it is, but something. Because if you just come out with yet another brown cigar, unless by some miracle you've discovered some fantastic new tobacco that's going to blow everybody's mind, you need to be doing something that nobody else is doing. And there's plenty of people who do that. But it's hard work. It's enjoyable. It's difficult to quantify, but it's enjoyable hard work because it's hard work, but I enjoy doing it. Now, if I'm working for somebody else and it's hard work, I'm not enjoying it so much because they're getting the fruits of my labor. I enjoy this immensely. I get to smoke cigars, but embrace what you're doing. Do it for you first, because that's your downside. If nobody else likes it, you can always smoke them. But be passionate about it and know your product. Go out there and show people, give them away, and if you've got a good product, they'll smoke them and they'll buy them.
Love that. So a side question. Right now, sitting where you're sitting right now in the Rebellion Studios, what would you have told yourself in 2021, 2022 that you know now that you probably wish you would have known then?
Understand fully how the customs and all the other bollocks that goes with this hat works, because I came into this fairly naively thinking it would be fairly easy to sell my cigars everywhere, accepting that you need to get out there and do all that sort of stuff. But the biggest battle we've had is with excise duty, customs duty, getting stuff shipped. The US can be a bit of a minefield because, again, in my naivety, I'm thinking the US is one country, but of course every state has its own rules about taxation, duty. If you sell cigars to California, that's a whole different thing than selling cigars to Florida. So really, really take time to understand the laws and all the other unfortunate stuff that you got to go through. Trademarks is another thing. Trademarking everything is very expensive, but Jesus, you've got to do it. Otherwise, some idiot will come after you at some stage, and all your hard work can literally go up in smoke. And it's a pity, but that's just the way the world works.
So talking about, going into like selling versus Florida versus California, what is it harder to figure out, the laws and stuff selling Florida, California, New York, Tennessee versus selling in England, Germany, Ireland?
Yeah, I mean, it's actually so once you've got the cigars into the UK, it's dead simple. You sell them. That's it.
Okay.
Once you get the cigars into Germany, you sell them. That's it. But because the US, because the states have different regulations and laws, and I don't know them all off the top of my head, but you can't sell flavored cigars in some states. You can't just ship cigars to some states without paying an excise duty in that state. So you have to navigate all those little intricacies, before you can do it. So you do PCA, you think, great, there's people from 50 states coming to see my cigars, they all want them, that's fantastic. But you then find out, well, I haven't got a license to wholesale in California, I haven't got a license to wholesale in wherever it is, so you can't sell there. So then you have to find another wholesaler or distributor or route into that particular market, which is possibly why your Floridas and again, I'm going to be very general now, but the more southern states are easier because it's just, well, it is. Once you've got them in, you can sell them. But some of those states are very difficult to sell into.
It's
so it's
crazy.
almost like it's almost like different countries within one country. So look, in Europe, I can sell my cigars to any country in Europe as long as they pay their duties, but it's quite simple. It's in America, you think it's one thing, it's not, it's 50 different things.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to touch on. We've heard this before a little bit, but it's even more because you're primarily outside the United States looking in. We've heard that from other people before, that each individual state, it's almost worse than selling in Europe because of each individual little law that comes into play, and they have to abide by those laws to be able to sell in that state, and it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
All right, so question number, I don't even know where I'm at. Question number 9: if you could have a cigar with any historical figure, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Winston Churchill.
I love that you answered that so quick. Awesome.
But I love the way he lived his life. I mean, he would smoke a cigar whilst eating, drinking champagne, brandy, whiskey. I mean, he was probably borderline alcoholic, but what a man. So I just love the way he lived his life, and I would love to sit down and share a cigar with him, and he'd probably intellectually kill me, but I don't care. I'd just be great.
That's one of my top 5 for sure, man. He's amazing. Yeah. I've read so much stuff on so much background on him. It would be such a journey of everything he went through. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, he did it. He didn't just, he became prime minister, but he'd fought in wars before that. He did it. He got his hands dirty before he started telling other people to get their hands dirty. And that's, for me, what a true leader is about.
All right. So question number 10. What is the best piece of advice you have ever been given?
Well, I'm going to be flippant on the first one, and that is don't eat yellow snow. But it's that old adage: if at first you don't succeed, try and try again. You just got in life, never give up. It's just how I live. There have been many occasions when you think, what's not worth it, but that's a defeatist attitude. Fuck them. I'm gonna win.
I like it.
Love it.
That works. So go ahead, as we wrap this one up, go ahead and let everybody know, because I know it's getting late where you're at. It's getting late where I'm at, so I know it's getting late where you're at. Let everybody know where they can find your cigars, where they can find you on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, whatever it is. where can people find information about Rebellion Cigars?
Okay, so on all the social media stuff, it's Rebellion Cigars. So whether it's at hashtag or whatever, Rebellion Cigars on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, all that sort of stuff. So you can find all the information there. The website is rebellioncigars.com. So you can find all the information about us, about the cigars on there. You've also got a finder on there on where you can buy the cigars. If you need to go online, you can buy cigars from Best Cigar Prices or Toro Cigars now, and Toro Cigars are starting to take more and more. And I really would like you to support them because, again, it's that their story is so similar to mine in how they tried to sort of start up, and things were against them, and they've pivoted and done different things, and they've got it off the ground, and they'll be successful. So websites, we're everywhere.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, we've seen you grow tremendously just since we've known you, and seeing you get into these different companies and being promoted and getting out there, man. We're super happy for you, man. I know your hard work is starting to really take off in the United States, and I'm sure it's paying off for you as well. So we're happy to see that, and I always like to kind of end my little conversation here with you by saying, man, if there's ever anything you need, let us know. If you want to come on and promote something. Anytime you post something, tag us in it, man. We'll be glad to share it for you. Like, we want to see you continue to grow and what you're building, and we love it, man. It's always good to see people that we've known for quite a while really kind of blow up over the scene in the scene, and we love what you're doing, man.
Well, honestly, it's the same back because you cannot do this without doing things like this, and the help that you guys have given me over the years is greatly appreciated. Otherwise, we wouldn't be where we are now. And for everybody that's helped us do this, but you guys in particular have been hugely supportive of what we do, and it goes both ways. And I love doing this. I think you guys do a fantastic job. And hopefully we're back on again, maybe with the Candela cigar.
All you got to do is just let us know when you want to jump back on. We will get you on here. Again, I appreciate you being on here. If there's anything that we didn't touch on or anything that you want to leave anybody else with, let them know now. If there's anything that we didn't ask you, the floor is yours.
Well, I think you've asked everything. It's been great. I think it's been, honestly, I've had a great time. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. In fact, it's past 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't even feel tired. I've had a whale of a time. Thank you.
Well, tell Mandy we're sorry that we kept you up so long. Thank you so much for being on here. If you ever want to reach out to us, go ahead and do that one. I'll reach out to you just because I enjoy talking to you. So, if you ever have any questions or want to jump on here and talk about anything, just let us know. We're always here for you.
No, I really appreciate it. Thanks, fellas.
All right. Have a great night, and we will have a great morning, and we will talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys. See you soon. Bye-bye.
See you.
Cheers.
Thanks, man.
Bye.
All right. So episode 24 or 42, 24? Dyslexia just kicked in. 42 in the books. Legitimately, I am 100% dyslexic. So reading that number, that's 100% my, that's my bag.
Dude, I'm the exact.
I'm not sure if I froze up, he froze up, we froze up, they froze up, somebody froze up, but he is, somebody check on Mick. Is he okay? Is he okay? Somebody posted in the chat. Is he okay? Which one of us is froze up? Lysdexia. So Josephus jumps on here and says Lysdexia. Yes, I am 100% lysdexic. So yes, 100% Mick froze up. So everybody got to see me turn upside down because I was trying to figure out what the hell was going on. So
I don't know what happened. No, I'm also mildly. I flip numbers all the like every week. I learn something new about you because honestly, we knew each other from herps and whatever before we started this. We didn't know each other for 20 years and decided to start a podcast podcast. And it's funny because we find something out, we're like, oh, makes sense why we've always been so close.
Yeah, so it's funny that we have Jennifer and I, my wife and I, have a language between us that she doesn't say turn left or right. It's this way or that way, because this way means I'm going this way. That way means I'm going her way, which is that way, because I'm always driving. Because if I'm in the middle of driving somewhere like Atlanta or Nashville or Memphis, and she says turn left, the only way I know to turn left is to wink. I can only wink with my right eye, so I know if I can wink that direction, I have to go the other direction. Because short term, if somebody says left or right, my brain does not process left or right. If I look at numbers, they're completely backwards. If I look at colors, my biggest color is purple and orange. I can look at orange and everything in my eyes say orange. Everything in my head says purple.
Wow.
Yeah. So I get so many things backwards constantly.
Clemson's got to fuck you up tremendously.
Tremendously. I just say they're all purple.
That's great, man.
So Josephus says he has a problem. My problem is I always put one in the pink.
I knew that was coming from somebody. I knew it was coming from somebody. I should have known it was Josephus.
Yeah. So guys, do us a favor. We do have a couple things. We have a cigar review coming up. We do have 2 $25 gift cards from Cigar Vault. I know you guys were waiting for me to say Beard Apothecary. Did not say it this time. I made sure I didn't. So suck it. So anyways, we do have a review to get to, some prizes from Cigar Vault, as well as the Meanwhile in Memphis. So if you guys are wanting to get involved with the $25 gift cards, make sure that you type in hashtag Cigar Vault. That would work. Hashtag Real Smoke in the comments, and we will get to that one. So give us some thoughts, brother. Good episode. Good guest.
Yeah, man, we knew what we were getting into with Shaun. He's a good dude, and we've known him for quite a while, and great dude, man. We enjoy all of his stories, and I learned some things tonight too, man. It seemed like every time I had a question, he already was into that subject, and which is great, man. Let the guests lead the show. It's a good time. I will say I enjoyed that cigar tonight. Had a couple construction issues, but it was a good cigar. Looking forward to getting into that. But no, overall, man, I enjoyed it. Great guest, great cigar, and we're 1 week away from our anniversary show, which we'll get into a little bit.
Oh
later.
yeah. So I will say that when we first started doing the podcast, when we first kind of met, I got you to get some of these cigars. And you were like, yeah, no, not a chance. Extremely earthy. Can't do the cigar. Cannot smoke them. And it became a running thing that I enjoyed them. And I kept telling you, no, try this cigar. Try this cigar. And you're like, nope, can't do it. Don't like them. So the fact that you actually smoked through it and me watching you smoke through it was like one of those things of like,
it was solid.
I cannot wait to find out what he actually thinks about it.
It's solid. It's not going to break any records, but it was definitely solid. Like I would buy it again. I'm glad I have a couple more in my humidor, and it's not a bad cigar. Absolutely. I mean, I'm not saying it's like my favorite ever, but it was solid, and I think my palate's still evolving, man. But it was a little earthy, but it was good. It was very good.
All right. So let's go ahead and do. Let's see. Okay, everything's set up on here. So, guys, make sure you type in hashtag Real Smoke. We do have 2 gift cards. By the way, Mick, do you want to go ahead and give the rules on the gift cards from Cigar Vault?
So it's still August, as far as I know, August 21st. So if you won on one of the previous 2 weeks, you are not eligible to win from the Cigar Vault again. We are spreading the love. We're spreading the wealth. And I believe, I know I have it written down somewhere, but Charles probably has it closer than me. If you won in the past 2 episodes, you will not win tonight.
So our winners from week number 1 was Mash Bill and Christy. Week number 2 was Val and Brent. So we're going with somebody new this week. So let's go ahead and spin this one. Make sure you guys get that hashtag in there. And here we go. So remember, you do have to be in here. You have to be live. You have to be from the continental United States. You also have to be able to say that you are here. And Cigars with Angel is our winner. So Cigars with Angel, please do us a favor and let us know that you're here according to Mick's timer. And that timer is somewhere in his head, and we have no idea how long that timer actually lasts. It could be 20 seconds, 10 seconds, 5 seconds.
No,
it could be 2 years.
Seconds.
Yeah.
I think someone's drag racing. Can you guys hear that?
I cannot.
Anyway. No? All right.
It would make sense, though.
Maybe I have the mic adjusted correctly this time. So, Cigars with Angel.
So, yeah, Cigars with Angel. Jump on here really quickly. I had to actually put mine on mute quite a few times tonight because the cicadas are absolutely insane here, and I had to go from my regular headphones because it's so freaking hot that the last couple of episodes my head was sweating from them. So I've gone to my earbuds, and I actually had to turn it off because I could hear the cicadas louder than I could hear everybody else talking.
Wow. Yeah, I've had some bad ones. I got one that will go for like an hour right outside our bedroom window right before we're ready to go to bed. And it's I don't hear it tonight, thank God, but it's been crazy lately. All right, so
Mick,
I would say
give a countdown.
We're at about 5, 4, 3, 2. Spin that wheel.
And the wheel's going again. Let's go ahead and see if we can get somebody else to do this one. Cigars with Christy says hashtag R. Yeah, actually, fill out the rest of the real smoke. Just letting you know, Christy. Just saying. Smoking Thompson. So we do have to say that you have to be in the continental United States because I don't believe we can ship to you. Sorry.
Yeah, would love to help you out here, but let's spin that golden wheel again.
Wow. I like this one. He goes, LOL. In other words, he's sitting right now going, fuck.
Guaranteed.
All right, so going for a third one. Here we go. Sad Somsus, he says. Hologram. That's a name that we've seen before. Hologram, if you're on here, make sure that you let us know. You have about 30 seconds while we BS. And so, anyways, I will say that Shaun is, we've said this before about different guests, but Shaun is one of my favorite guys in the industry because he is somebody who not only is trying to break it new in the industry, but he's trying to, he lives over in England and he's trying to come over here. He's got a house in both places and he's trying to make it work in both locations. He's trying to make the European market work. He's trying to make it work over here. And to see the drive that he's got and to watch him go from, where he started to where he is now is awesome. So Samsa says, that's the third time I've won. Should I stop entering? No, because we'll give away some other stuff because you're about to get some other stuff when you come to Memphis and meet Mick. So, I mean, you're doing pretty good. You're going to get more than you know. Absolutely. Let's see. Hologram says he's here.
I think. Is that what it means? I think he's here. Let me follow up on your Shaun thing real quick. So, palates are subjective, obviously, and I've never said he's had a bad cigar, but they just didn't fit my palate. I will say that my palate's growing. I enjoyed that tonight more than any other cigar I had from him. I'm looking forward to what they do in the future. But it's hard. It is hard sometimes when you have a guest on that you enjoy talking to, and it's someone that's that great of a dude in the industry and it's pushing that hard, and that to not let that affect your scoring of a cigar. And I will say that I love what he's doing, man. He's trying to break the status quo a little bit and do what should be done in the industry and have a great price cigar and a great quality cigar in all markets that can stand up against some of the big boys. So props to him, and I enjoy what he did and what he's doing.
See, that's one of the things that I go back into when we score the things and we talk about experience. It says flavor experience, but it also goes into the experience. So if I'm enjoying the cigar because of the company I'm having, it's going to increase the flavor experience as well. So I may score it a little bit higher just because I'm having a great time with it. So yep. I get that one. So Hologram is on here. So Gabe, do us a favor, send Mick your mailing name, address, phone number, and email address, and we will get all that information out to you. We have one more to give away tonight. So that one is coming right about now. Who is it going to be? Angela. Angela has won in the past, but she has not won in the month of August. Angela, are you still here, girl? Just asking.
Asking for a friend. When we started talking about having him on, we're so used to having him talk to us, and he's in Florida. So when he jumped on in the green room and I was talking to him, I was like, this is a new background. I haven't seen this one before. And he's like, have I not been here before? And it's like, no, you're always out in your, your backyard in your outdoor space. He's like, oh, okay, that's Florida. And I was like, wait, where are you at now? He said, I'm back home in England. And I was like, oh God, what time is it? He's like, oh, it's about midnight. It's like, holy shit. Yeah, I wish, not that we would have changed really anything. It would have, it's his call. Oh shit, she's here. Awesome.
Angela Thompson's here.
I thought we were spinning for like a sixth time. But no, yeah, I agree. He I did not expect him to be in England. Although when he messaged us early this week, he said about sending us some cigars, and he said they were coming from the UK. And I guess we should have probably figured that that's where he was at right now. So I guess that's on us.
Yeah, I didn't think about that either. So Angela, make sure you do the whole thing. Send Mick your mailing name, address, phone number, email address, all that wonderful stuff. We'll get out that stuff to you as soon as possible. So congratulations to Hologram, Gabe, and Angela for winning the $25 gift card to the Cigar Vault. So congratulations. We love it. So Cigars with Christy says, excellent podcast. Thank you so much. We hope all of them are excellent, but if they're not, sorry. Just saying.
Let us know.
Yeah, let us know. So we have a couple of things left. We have Meanwhile in Memphis and the closing of the show, but just because I want to be a dick, just be somebody who loves the guy that we're on here, and I kept promising I would go ahead and show this one. So we're going to say that the prizes tonight was brought to you by our brother, Robert Courtner, over at 13 Knives.
Hey boys and girls, I wanted to read you a story about the three little cutters. Once upon a time there were three little cutters. Daddy Cutter, Mama Cutter, and Badass Bulldog Cutter. The Daddy Cutter came out in 2020, and some people thought it looked too much like other cutters. A year later, Mama Cutter came out, and some people thought it looked like Daddy Cutter. Given the times, oh well, let's be original. So in late 22, Badass Bulldog Cutter was born. Badass Bulldog Cutter is a cleaver style cutter. with a bottle opener made from 1095 high carbon steel that I get right here in the US of A with US sourced materials. And those who have bought a badass Bulldog cutter have lived happily ever after. So quit looking for your glass slipper and buy yourself a Bulldog cutter.
Every time I sit
nothing.
back, and bro, I got to give you props, man. I know you put that music to it. It like stops at the right time and then picks back up at the right time. It's fucking outstanding. Like it's great, man.
Yeah. So good job, Robert, for putting together another awesome video. So our last segment that we got to do is a little bit of Meanwhile in Memphis. That tends to be the number one. What?
Did we forget the cigar review?
Oh, we did. So we do have to do a cigar review. Oh my goodness.
I'll make it quick.
Cigar review. I'm so glad you put that in there. So let's go ahead and get a cigar review in there. Cigar review is brought to you by Cigar Army.
Tonight's cigar review is proudly sponsored by Cigar Army. The Cigar Army is a community brought together by their shared love of cigars, but bonded by something much deeper, their mission to give back to those in need. Through Operation Give Back, they honor the courage and dedication of our military and first responders, both active and retired. Their bravery and selflessness make the freedoms we enjoy possible, including this very moment to sit here, share a cigar, and connect with our Real Smoke audience. Every puff carries a story. Every draw is a tribute to their sacrifices. This isn't just about cigars, it's about gratitude, about compassion, and about giving back to the heroes who shaped our lives. Join them in the mission to make a difference, one cigar at a time. Check them out on Instagram at Cigar Army 3 or search Cigar Army on Facebook. Together, we can turn our passion into purpose.
So huge thanks to Cigar Army. I just completely looked over that because when I rewrote the script or the layout for tonight and we put 13 Knives up a little bit, just did not see it. So
That's what I'm here for, brother.
there you go. So go ahead. As always, you are the first one. So let us know what you thought about the cigar that you smoked tonight.
All right, I will say it's my my favorite Rebellion I've had so far, and again, my palate's developing a little bit, and I'm starting to fall in love with some of those earthy flavors. But this one wasn't as earthy as some of the ones I've had in the past, for sure. But aroma from the body, natural tobacco sweetness, hay, light barnyard, aroma from the foot, nutty, maybe almond, pepper, sweetness, aroma from the cold draw, a little bit nutty, pepper. There was a light tang, funk kind of on the cold draw. The first third notes, there was a noticeable spiciness, pepperness, like possibly a chili pepper, touch of saltiness, cocoa, a little bit of plum. The smoke was definitely creamy and thick. Sounds like a Devon cigar. The retro, light pepper, some cedar. The second half, it amped up for sure. It was definitely my favorite third. It was natural tobacco sweetness, touch of maple, some peanut butter and dark chocolate. Kind of reminded me of like a peanut butter cup. Dark fruit, I would say plum again. Light earthiness. The retro is again light pepper, cedar, a little bit of dark fruit. The final third notes was a dark, rich chocolate. The peanut was still present. The plum was still there, dark fruitiness. There was a touch of citrus on the back end. It was a little bit earthy, definitely amped up on the earthiness. The retro was light pepper, cedar, and again, the dark fruitiness. I will say I had a little bit, which is going to drop score a little bit. The cap split completely, and I don't think it was my cut. And there was definitely a couple mouse holes in it that I didn't need any touch-ups or anything, but it was definitely there. But the pre-let experience, I gave it an 18 out of 20. Flavor enjoyment, 14 out of 15. Construction and characteristics, 26 out of 30. Smoke production and final thoughts, I gave it a 30 out of 35. I gave it an 88.
So 88 for you. All right. All right. So let's see. I got a lot of the same stuff. So aroma off the body. I gave to me it was a campfire barnyard kind of deal. Aroma off the foot. Sweet tobacco and plums. Taste off the cold draw. Earthy sweetness tobacco. On a light, black pepper, earth, and a tobacco sweetness. Into the first third, earth, dark chocolate, and a slight fruit note on the palate. And is met with more of a chocolate black pepper on the retro, followed by a slight citrus and nutty note on the retro. Good draw, lots of smoke, wavy burn, needed a slight touch up for correction. Flaky ash, medium finish, medium strength. Into the second, notes up front are on the palate and the retro are the same. Chocolate note has turned more of a milk chocolate, followed by a dark fruit peanut, and the retro brings in a white pepper note. The draw is good, burn is still wavy, ash is flaky, medium finish, a slightly sweet note on the finish. Body is about a medium in strength. In the final third, dark chocolate, coffee, and earth, and a slight salty note. The retro brings the dark chocolate, coffee, and a dark fruit. Burn, ash, still about the same. Wavy burn, flaky ash. So when you go into the scores, pre-light experience, I gave it a 19 out of 20. Flavor enjoyment, get a 12 out of 15. Construction characteristics, construction, a 9 out of 10. Draw, 9 out of 10. Burn, 9 out of 10, so 27 out of 30. Final thoughts, smoke production and texture, 5 out of 5. Overall experience, 18 out of 20. Would I smoke it again? Yeah, I'd buy a box of them. A 9 out of 10. So it gives me a 90 out of a possible 100. So you take that score and your score, and it comes out to a 89 as our average. So you gave it a what now?
88.
88. So you gave it 88. I gave it a 90. Comes out to an 89. So 89 for the Ring of Fire from Rebellion Cigars. Not a bad score. Absolutely enjoyed that cigar. So
yeah, it was my favorite in their line yet, and I will say I know my palate's still developing. It was.
You do need to try the Screaming Skull. So if he gets them to us, I will send you some. So the Screaming Skull was a great cigar, and I've told you from day one, the Ace of Spades is my favorite from the line.
Yep.
So
I need to revisit the Ace of Spades since my palate's kind of developed a little bit. When I first had it, that earthiness took over, man, and I just couldn't. I did not enjoy it. I'm not saying it was terrible, but it wasn't in my palate range.
Funny thing is, when it comes to the earthiness of that cigar, you've smoked more earthy cigars in the last 2 or 3 months than the earthiness in that cigar. So, and you've scored some of the cigars a whole lot higher because
it's
to be transparent, you did not like the cigar.
I did
because it was way too earthy.
Yeah.
But there has been quite a few episodes in the last 4 or 5 months that I've sent you a message that said, I cannot wait to see what you think about this because it's earthy as fuck.
It's funny though, because like I've ruined you on tequila and some like craft beer stuff, and you've ruined me on cigars on the back end. With our palates are both evolving.
Yes,
our palates are
100%.
both evolving on what we're doing, because you're liking the shit that I like forever, and I'm liking the stuff that you've liked forever, and it's crazy how that works.
I will say that if you take a good reposado and put it with the Ace of Spades, you should like it.
I almost guarantee I will. I am looking forward to some of the other stuff they have though, and I do need to say this before we move on.
By the way, you did hear I said reposado because
I love
it's tequila.
I love it. I love it. I absolutely caught up on that, man. That's awesome. No, I do need to say though, like I don't want anyone that's watched this show for quite a while thinking like, I know an 88's not like our top score, but in the grand scheme of things, for a company that's been around for 4 or 5 years, that's a great fucking score. You know what I mean? Like, I know we're spoiled on this show. That's an 89 a combined score is a great fucking score. Like, that's a great cigar. Like, I'd put that in my humidor any day of the week.
I will put this in my humidor every day. I love the cigar.
Yeah, it's great.
All right. So I know I completely botched the job when I was about to miss the review. So I'm so glad that Shaun wasn't on here to see that one. But Shaun, if you happen to catch the rest of it, know that we love the cigar. And by the way, go pink. So we do have one left to get to before we close out the show, and it is the Meanwhile in Memphis. And that Meanwhile in Memphis is brought to you by. Who is that brought to you by?
Haze Gray Cigars.
Every Haze Gray cigar is handcrafted with care, using only the finest tobaccos sourced from around the world, with rich flavors and smooth draws that satisfy even the most discerning cigar aficionados. From careful selection of tobacco leaves to the final roll, we oversee every step to guarantee the best blends possible. Every Haze Gray cigar is rolled with pride and purpose. Each cigar represents a different chapter in our Haze Gray story, from smooth Connecticut finesse to dark richness of Dublin Dry. There's a cigar that fits your mind.
Oh, yeah.
So are you ready for some Meanwhile in Memphis?
Let's do this.
Meanwhile in Memphis, it's happening again. Meanwhile in Memphis, the sky turns wild. Stray gators and pools running free and wild. Some guys wearing mud boots with a suit on trial. Meanwhile in Memphis, let's stay here a while.
Love that song.
Me too. I'm gonna have them play that next week in Memphis Filling Station for the Western Tennessee Herf. Hopefully, too.
I will make sure that I get you the file. I want to find a band that does one of our events and have them learn that song.
Dude, there's gotta be live music that day. I should see if they can maybe do like a little rendition of it. It'd be great. I'll see what I can do. Next weekend, brother. It's on.
There you go.
All right, so I got to be honest with you. I scoured the internet this week, and there's not much that I feel right about making part of my segment. There was the young Dolph case that was a big news in Memphis. There was a lot of murders this week. It was not a great week for finding shit that I felt good laughing about. So I'll start off by saying, if you missed the start of the show, next weekend in Memphis at the Memphis Filling Station will be the Western Tennessee Herf. I know most of you heard that, but if you have questions, reach out to me. I'll take care of that. We'll get you in there. We're gonna have a good time. My second story.
Let me just say this: if there is anybody who is in the Tennessee, Arkansas, Mississippi, Kentucky, give me some more. If you guys are in the area and you can make it to Memphis, Missouri. I mean, it's already looking like there's going to be 20 plus TriStar members there. And then when you incorporate their wives and their friends that are coming out, there's going to be 40 to 50 people already going to be there.
Easy.
We want more. You don't have to be a member. You don't have to be somebody who is interested in joining a club. If you want to come out, enjoy good beer, that's going to be they're making beer for the club that week.
Yeah.
If you want to enjoy good beer, good cigars, and you want to go hang out and learn about Haze Gray cigars because they're going to be there, come join us. Or go join them.
Wow.
Go join them.
So I think Charles will agree with me on this. There's a few things I'm pretty good at in life, but Mick knows how to throw a party. Memphis, Tennessee Herf, you do not want to West Tennessee Herf, you do not want to miss. It's going to be next weekend. You don't want to miss it. Hit me up, DM me.
I will say the 2024 event, we have 3 Herfs a year, East, Middle, and West Tennessee. Mick planned the best Herf of the year for 2024, and if this one pops off like he's talking about, he's going to have the 2025 as well. So if you guys want to join a a good party and a good atmosphere, go jump in and go join these guys. They're going to have a great time.
Shout out to Little Debbie. He's helped me quite a bit on this one, but we're rocking it. All right, so my second story, I didn't even print this one out because I thought it would be easy just to talk about. My second story is from Illinois. I know it's not Memphis, but it was in our news all week. An Illinois school had to shut down the first week of school because the catalytic converters were stolen from every school bus in their parking lot.
I saw that. That hit our news too.
Crazy. Like that sounded like a Memphis story. So I was like, I gotta go with this. Where do you trade in catalytic converters? That's my question. Like where? Like where do you go?
Living in an area that happens every day. Just about any junkyard, backwoods body shop. That's where.
That's crazy.
Because they sell them for $400 or $500 a piece.
That's what I was just going to ask. How much do they go for? Because I mean, not
$400 to $500 a piece.
Not that I'm going to steal some catalytic converters tonight, but like, that's crazy to me. Well, somebody, I mean, I'm sure it's drug money or something that they're just trying to make ends meet. But man, a whole parking lot full of school buses lost their catalytic converters, and somebody's like, "Yeah, cool, I'll give you $400 a piece for them." It's crazy to me. All right, so my last story comes from the Memphis Flyer, and again, this isn't for Memphis because it's been a really bad, funny news week down here. This one is entitled "News That Sounds Like a Joke," and there's another reason I put this in here because
isn't that all of our news?
Correct. Yes. However, this one has a lot of big words in it, and it's from China.
Oh, so God, you're in trouble.
Exactly. That's why I kind of picked this one because I know it's kind of my thing. I'm owning it, man. I'm owning it. All right, news that sounds like a joke. The Chun Chung Qing Forestry Bureau has sucked all the fun out of a gimmick at a hotel. Perfect timing. Has sucked all the fun out of a gimmick at a hotel in Penjingshu, China, according to the United Press International. The Bureau ordered the Lei Hei Lei Du Lai Hung Jiang Holiday Hotel to cease using red pandas.
What hotel?
Oh fuck! Lei Hei Lei Du Lei Hai Jai Hang Holiday Hotel.
Wait.
Stop.
So Thompson says Mick and Ease is going off tonight.
My eyes are watering. To cease using red pandas to make wake-up calls to guests.
Wait, what?
They were using red pandas to make wake-up calls. Hang on, I got this. UPI reported on June 25th for an extra charge, hotel guests could use. Gosh, Jesus, mighty, my eyes are watering. Could sign up for one of the 4 red pandas to come to the room and climb into bed and wake them up. They could linger with guests depending on their mood. The Forestry Bureau Department said the service could be considered animal abuse because the pandas are sensitive to stress responses and could end up killing a human. Ooh. All right, I made it through.
So Thompson says that's a shirt, the hotel name, and a picture of Mick.
I could do that. The Lehe,
the Hornaday Inn.
Yeah. I thought you guys would enjoy that one. It's been a week in Memphis that I could have used 20 stories, but none of them would have made us better humans for laughing at.
So they used pandas to crawl in bed with people. So think about this dude that's over there that's like either wasted or high, and this fuzzy thing crawls in bed with him. It's not animal abuse, or it's not people abuse.
It's animal.
I don't want to know what he did with the animal.
Yeah, he'd be like, "Hey, baby, it was a big night last night, huh?" And you roll over and be like, "What the fuck?"
I can see someone rolling over and going, "What is? Oh well, let's go."
Yeah, I must have been really drunk last night.
Honey, I did not have an affair. It was a panda. I'm just saying.
I can't believe they ever came up with that idea. Like, how did a red panda not kill someone? I know they're probably tame and like domesticated or whatever, but holy fuck, like that thing could have literally killed somebody.
Please read this.
Real Smoke Podcast, live from the La Ho La Ha Joe Hang Hotel.
So Somsus wants to know, does the carpet match the drapes on a red panda?
Ginger, baby. Let's go. Oh, shit.
And Rob is like, he's channeling Bill Clinton right now. I did not have sexual relations with that panda.
I did not think this one would be such a hit. This is great. My Newsweek ever, and it was great.
So the next shirt I'm going to work on it this week is going to be a red panda, and it's going to be, I did not have relations with that panda.
I will say, speaking about our shirts, we sold like 4 this week.
Nice.
Which I know in the grand scheme of things is not that great, but it's pretty fucking awesome that somebody's going to be walking around. Props to Cigars with Angel. He was one of them. But somebody's going to be walking around with one of our slogans or dumb shirts that we just love laughing about. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, to anyone who's going to be walking around with one of our fucking shirts on, it's phenomenal. Thank you.
Guys, go check out the shirts. I had a run of I could not sleep moments over the last week and sent Mick a crap ton of shirts. One of them we actually had to have approved because it was a likeness of one of our champs on here. So we have a shirt that has a likeness of Sin Coburn on there, and we call her the Real Smoke Champ. So there's a t-shirt that has her on the back of it. So and
Charles has run of lack of sleep turned into my entire Sunday of getting this stuff turned into a editable image that could be utilized for a shirt. And I'm happy to do it. It was awesome. We now have probably 20 designs that we have out there and just really cool shit, man. And
I think you actually have some more that you haven't even posted out yet.
I have. I lost interest after about 10 hours on Sunday. I lost interest. I'm like, I'm done for now. We'll do it next week. It's all good.
All right, guys. So want to thank everybody for jumping on here. By the way, is that the final Meanwhile in Memphis?
The final Meanwhile in Memphis?
Is that the last story you have for tonight?
Oh, yeah. I was like, is it the last one ever? I'm really confused.
No, it's our most popular. But just to say, final one of the night.
Meanwhile in Memphis, it's happening again. Meanwhile in Memphis, the sky turns wild. Stray gators and bulls running free and wild. Some guys wearing mud boots with a suit on trial. Meanwhile in Memphis, let's stay here a while.
Phenomenal.
So we will be having some more shirts come out. I know Mick has a few more designs that I've sent him. We have some patriotic stuff. You saw some, if you looked at some of the images that that Mick posted on some of the things, there is a Uncle Sam version of Uncle Mick that could be put out. There is a couple of World War II pinup style girl shirts that's coming out. So we do have a few more coming out, and there's going to be a red panda one that comes out soon. So I'm just saying, I'm working on that one tomorrow because it's Friday. Tomorrow is my day off. Well, it's my afternoon off. I have to work the evening, so I will probably be working on that one. And we probably, I think there's a couple other ones out there, but anyways.
Yeah, the pinup one had a little bit of a hiccup with the design when I tried to edit it, so I got that this week. But I do want to say next week, man. Next week.
Oh, let's talk about that.
Yeah. So next week, and it's kind of cool. It's perfect timing because we're going to see a lot of our. I wish you were there, man. And we're not going to get into that, but next week, right before our Western Tennessee Herf, next Thursday, is our 1 year anniversary, and we haven't even really talked about this, so we're kind of doing it live right here on the air on the fly. We really haven't announced who's going to be on that show, and I think we should kind of keep it that way.
I'm good with that.
The first, I'm just going to say fucking tune in, because the first half an hour, 45 minutes, our Patreon and our supporters, our subscribers, our sponsors for our segments and our title sponsor are going to be on. So I'll give that.
Hey, if you're somebody who's looking at being a Patreon and you want to jump on there, jump onto our Patreon group and shoot Mick a message and say, "Hey, I just joined Patreon. Can I jump on the episode?" He may get you on an episode next week.
I'll put you on. Yeah. I mean, for as little as $5 a month, you get the best sticker pack in the world, and you get to jump on our anniversary show. After that 45 minutes, you're going to have to tune in to see who's going to be on there, because there's some really big names, some incredible people from past shows. It's going to be one of those shows that is probably going to go way longer than it should, but it's going to be one of those shows that I just can't fucking wait for. Like, it's people that they respect what we're trying to do for the industry, and we respect what they've done in the industry, and it's all going to come together in one big ball of craziness for a few hours next Thursday night.
Oh, that's awesome. So I kind of know who's going on. So Mick has been in charge of this episode as well as our 50th episode. Our 50th episode is going to be my birthday episode. So Mick has been in charge of getting all the guests for both of those. So I kind of know who's coming on, but I kind of don't. On the birthday episode, I got no freaking clue, and I'm absolutely terrified, but we'll get into that one later. But it may be one of the ones where I accidentally have internet connection issues and I have to jump off, and Mick has to take over the rest of it. I'm just saying. But
birthday roast, bro.
Guys, it's going to be, our episode 43 next week. I cannot believe that we did it in 12 months, what we thought we were going to do in roughly 25 to 30 episodes. In this amount of time, we're going to be at 43. So we'll do episode 43 as the 1 year anniversary herf, and it's going to be a lot of great people, and we're going to have a lot of great times. So come join us. If you join us, if you're not on here with us, put in the comments. We're going to read a lot of comments on here. We're going to try to keep it somewhat tame. I don't think it'll stay that way, but we're going to have a good time.
And if you got an invite, congrats, because we had to really weed through some people to figure out who we were inviting on there. And we just want to say thank you to everybody that supported us along this journey. But we'll get into that next week. But man, I could not be more excited about an episode bringing people on that care about what we're doing and we care about what they're doing. It's gonna be an amazing 1 year anniversary show. So be there.
Oh yeah, it's not going to be one where we're interviewing a brand or anything like that. It's going to be shit show and shenanigans, and that should have been the name of the podcast. Is shit show and shenanigans, which I may change that just to see if I can get it to go through. Yeah, I may change it to see if I can get it to do that one. So, anyways, congratulations to our cigar of the night. So, Rebellion Cigars gets a combined score of 89. Congratulations to Hologram and Angela for winning the $25 gift cards from Cigar Vault. Been a great show. Enjoyed it. Thanks for everybody who jumped on here and made sure that you commented and all that stuff.
Hit that subscribe
Josephus
button.
says, confessionals, my grandfather lost his left testicle in the Battle of the Bulge, so I can listen to the Real Smoke podcast.
Josephus has some of the best comments, man. It's phenomenal. No, I'll second that, man. Had a great time tonight. Almost a year, brother, and I appreciate everything you do, man. It's
1 week away.
It's a brotherhood that can't be broken at this point, man. Sky's the limit, brother. Let's keep pushing this shit.
I'm just saying that this podcast was born, and I'll say it again next week. This podcast was born this month a year ago. We talked about it. Our wives gave the green flag. They probably regret every minute of it. But this podcast was born a year ago this month. So, guys, once again, if you can go join Mick over in Memphis for the TriStar Herb Crew, that's where this idea got started. Go join him. Go hang out. You don't have to be a TriStar member. Go join him. Go hang out. Have a good smoke. Enjoy some great beer. And ask and let him know you need a sticker because we got a good sticker going on for that one. So
I think
closes out, bud.
I think Big Al's coming up to see us next week. So I'm happy to meet. I'm happy to meet him in person, man. That'd be a good time. Big Al doing the Howlin' with Big Al show. If you haven't seen that, check that out. But yeah, man, 1 week away from 1 year. I'm excited. Take time this week. Smoke a cigar with someone you love. Amazing episode, brother. I appreciate everything you do. Much love. That's all I got.
Thanks for everybody who jumped on here tonight. We appreciate you. We would not be doing this without you. So the only thing I have left to say is thank you and have a great night.
Peace.
The smoke is thick, the air is tight, cigars are lit, oh what a sight. Pour the whiskey, tequila too, this one for Mick and Charles and you. Thank you for tuning in. The Real Smoke Podcast makes us so grin. You light us up.